gotta leave it to the professionals.
Blessed by Bundy, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been golden when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Call her Era Lord. Call me Levi, playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like LeBron James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. But feels not falling for the FOMO. Listening to Coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gonna stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum entities. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I gotta shout out
Started
the
off with a
bit.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Breaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in suits. Yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, mighty, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. Had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So I had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the ride with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
GM, welcome to Coffee with Captain. I'm Cap, or also known as a faux Tim Dillon today. Appreciate y'all being here. Appreciate you in advance for helping get the space warmed up. Apologies again for the short show yesterday, but man, that was a nasty curveball. I deep empathy for anyone who deals with those on a regular basis. I was laid up for the majority of the day. Like as soon as I shut down the show, was probably out until like 1, 2 o'clock maybe, and then just slow moving the rest of the day. And woke up this morning, went to the gym, felt okay-ish, and then got a little just feeling off from lights and stuff. So because we have a special interview today, special guests, plural, the Claynosaurz team joining us, taking extra precautions with the lights, and we are might bust out a rap, might drop my first rap single today. Need to become a famous striker like Holland, and I can get a collab with Kygo. If you missed it, Kygo did he remixed a Holland song from when Holland was like 15, and just dropped the single yesterday. Anyways, GM to all the GMers, we're live on YouTube, on Abstract, on X video. Go smash them all this morning. We want to keep this not only do we want to warm the show up, we're going to be keeping extra eyes on Machiavelli, Dort, Guccione, and all the apes and mutants out there to make sure they don't bail on us at 9 o'clock and go to that other space at 9. We need to make sure we have a bigger crowd in here than them today, with our guest joining us at right around 9 a.m. Eastern. The team will join. And man, now I was kind of half joking. Maybe we'll get another announcement out of them today. I think we might. I think we might actually get some alpha on the show today. I'm not going to promise that, but Blake, who's going to be joining us, said, yeah, please double close eyes on Dort. Make sure they're not alt accounting over there as well. Anyways, we will be We'll be bringing him on here in about an hour, and I think we might have another. I don't know how they have more things to announce, because it seems like every day they've been dropping not an announcement of announcement, but like a real banger update. And rumors are we might get another one today. I'm creating the rumors, but Blake kind of agreed and said we will get an announcement today. So stay tuned for that. You don't want to go anywhere. And certainly our community member of the week that will be pulling a BZ Claw pull tomorrow, that'll come from someone who's hanging out from the 9 to 10 o'clock hour for sure. So if you want to pull a grail on BZ tomorrow, make sure you don't bail on us come 9 o'clock. Diego GM, today we do have the Clayno team, super stoked. GM Machiavelli, GM Blockmage, Jambert, or also known as the World Cup bracket challenge guru, running away with that thing. Roaring all the Claynos. I thought about live buying a Clayno. I may not live buy a Clayno today, but I did bust out the, wait, can you see it? Yep, there you go. I did bust out the Clayno plushie. So one of the things I want to talk to them about is, hey, I have a Popkin, so I get a little sliver of equity for that. Do I get any sliver of equity or tokens for my booster pack that I got from that Clayno plushie? I said this yesterday. I'm going to say it again, and then we'll probably shift gears, talk everything other than Claynos, so I can hold my thoughts and not reiterate things at 9 o'clock when the team joins us. But they're doing Web3 proper. Like, not everyone needs to rush out and launch an animated series, just like not everyone needs to rush out and launch a TCG. But how they're moving in the space, how they're taking their product, in this case, animated shorts, and then all the other stuff that comes with the IP. They're taking their IP to the masses, but as they do so, they're not forgetting their core supporters, their core base, and even simple things like, oh yeah, you buy a plushie, you can redeem it for a booster pack on chain. Like little things like that are awesome. Yeah, I do have a staked Popkins, badges, collecting community activations. They're doing it all. And Jambert's joining it. Which here's Jambert's plan. This is a little bit of foreshadowing. He's going to win Community Member of the Month for his bracket challenge, and then he will pull a Grail from BZ, that $250 BZ Claw pull at the end of the month. He's going to pull a Grail, and then he's going to parlay. He's going to take the swap and parlay his winnings into a Clayno. I see it happening. The glasses give me future vision, and that's on the cards. GM Thomas, GM Teacher Katie, everyone over there in the abstract chat, as well as our YouTube gang, Hizzy in the Spaces chat, as always. Miss A out there, buenos dias. Dillo, Riss Brian, we got Dwayne, Swiv's here. Swiv's always out there, but here early on on Clayno Day. Blue, appreciate the kind words. And man, I feel, she said, definitely deal with migraines all the time. They are the worst, like the worst. And I'm trying to have I been in more pain before? Yes. I mean, breaking my leg was awful. The torn tendon didn't hurt, but the recovery from that was awful. I've been sick before, but I rarely get sick. I think the thing with it, at least for me, with migraines that sucks so much is like the mental. Today, like I'm probably fine, but a little light hit me funny, and I started getting feeling a little off again. I'm like, it's just like after you go through one, it's like PTSD. Like I don't want to get another migraine because I couldn't function yesterday. I did all I could to keep the show going, and I was literally thought I was going to puke when I turned off the show yesterday. I did not, but I turned off the lights, laid in bed, and then I woke up around 1 o'clock. And I never do that. I'm not a napper. I'm up at 4 a.m. every day, and yet I slept from 9 to 1, and then probably laid in bed another hour and a half, and I just couldn't do anything. Couldn't function. It was debilitating. Debilitating, is that the word? And then so after you have one, it's like, oh man, am I getting another one right now? And so just this anxiety of, oh crap, do I have another one coming on? So I even popped a couple ibuprofen as a precautionary this morning. I've taken more ibuprofen in the last 24 hours than I have probably in the last 4 years. I could go a year without taking it, and I think I've got now 6 in me in the last 24 hours. Yeah, and it is something to do. I'm normally not sensitive to light, but it got me yesterday, and I'm near certain that's what it was. We have these lights in our kitchen that hang down, and I think the bulbs maybe are just too bright, and it just hit me just right, and pretty sure that's what sent me into one yesterday. And then so debilitating, no it's just debilitating. Thank you, Von Frutton. But yeah, it's the worst, because then it's just like in the back of my head, like, oh crap, I'm really good. I'm not seeking any sympathy. I'm not doing it for a bit. If we didn't have some special guests joining us, I probably would. You know what I should have done today? Now that the thumbnails are firing in the chat, I should have. I definitely should have. I definitely should wear the black hat backwards. That looks like I have a do-rag on. I may actually change before. Should I go grab the black hat to go full in? Zane says, why am I dressed up like a sketchy NFT dealer? Want some NFTs? Opens my trench coat. Yeah, I feel for anyone who joined the show yesterday at like 9:50 or 8:50 for the first time ever, or anyone who's any like Claynosaurz community member who's never been on the show before. They pop in this morning like, who is this joker? Who is this guy? Thinks he's some Gen Alpha rocking his shades, or I don't even know. Probably Gen Alpha doesn't rock shades, but I'm debating going and putting the black hat on backwards. That makes it look like I have the do-rag. Anyways, back to the. AI makes me look like I've the AI from Guccione makes me look like I've overdone the Botox. I'm due for some Botox, but this makes it look like I've overdone it. It's very crisp. For those of you that aren't on video, you're missing out this morning. Yeah, if no other reason to go hit YouTube and hit that sub button over there, today is a day. Strong smells will take you out. Interesting. I've never thought about the smells, but truly anyone that deals with these on a regular basis, man, yeah, I don't even know. I don't have the right word for it. I feel for you, because it is not enjoyable. Anyways, back to Web3 stuff, because we do have quite a bit of news happening, and we need to get to before our Builders Domain special guest today, brought to you by Doma, the Claynosaurz team, and all that they're doing to push the space forward. That said, if we look at, trying to think where to start, we got Robinhood truly popping off. We have world markets that pivoted from Paint. It's doing the, when I share a screen, it throws me off every time. And now, I mean, it's fine, but my I don't even know how to describe it on my end. My StreamYard just like shrunk. Anyways, no one cares. Doesn't matter. Not irrelevant. We'll figure it out afterwards. We're just trying some new stuff from a production standpoint. And we do have a new intro video for you today. I'm excited about that. To just get word, new intro video for the Builders Domain. And what a great group to kick it off with than the one and only Claynosaurz. So Robinhood popping off. Not only are the memes popping off, we had world markets. I was wrong. I truly thought world markets was a homegrown Solana app. So much so that when I saw this yesterday, I thought they were like shit posting. I thought they were just like trolling almost. I didn't think it was actually real, but I do think it is real. I think world markets, they left Solana after 1 week, not only after a week on Solana, but getting all the support from the Solana Foundation, from Vibu. And you had even Vibu, who worked for Solana. He's like the director of product there. He changed his badge to a world market badge. Like, is there a chance this is just a big psyop and they're not actually, can anyone confirm, is world market, or world, I guess it's called, are they actually going to Robinhood chain? I mean, that was the post. They're trolling everyone. World is from Solana Foundation. That's what I thought. So it is just a big troll. It is just a big troll. Salute. I mean, well done. You got me. That's trolling done well, I guess. So so Robinhood popping off, not because World is going there. The memes are going strong. The Arbitrum is pumping, maybe winner of the day when we get into daily market update. We may just go ahead and knock that out pretty quickly. Drew's going to let me know because he can probably look and see is there actually where their volume is going. Is Drew is World, was it just rage baiting, engagement baiting? World is still on Solana. Can you determine that? Or did you go for something else? GM. Oh, we lost Drew. Drew, you popped down as a listener. Let's take 2. Check 2. Check Drew. You with us now?
Can you hear me?
We got you.
Yeah. So this is in my lane. Anyone can feel free to tweet this. But I was going to comment everywhere and say, oh, Frank D. Gods must be the advisor because now they're going to start switching chains.
So I don't think they switched changed. Can you... And maybe, I guess, even if they announced it, they probably haven't like switched yet. But
I think if they actually do, which for me, I think me personally, it doesn't really matter what chain you're on. Like people are going to go to where you are. Like I think all the L1s and L2s at this point, it's kind of like, what kind of car do you like? Do you like a Nissan, Honda? Do you want a truck? Do you want a 4Runner? Like I just look at it from that perspective. I think it's silly. If they really do, I mean, I'm glad that Robinhood chain has the hype to, I guess, comparatively put some pressure on Solana. I'm a big Solana hater anyway. But competition is good. I mean, I'm here for it. Like every single part of competition evolves and pushes the space further. And, well, obviously memes are hot because Vlad, put out a tweet about it. I mean, the bigger stuff about Robinhood chain is going to be definitely more about RWAs, more transaction, more stocks on chain, more whatever. I mean, it's good to get the TVL up and pump the stats, but I don't know. I mean, if they do or don't, does it change anything?
I guess maybe only because like the foundation and the team got so much behind it. That's where it has me also convinced that they're not really switching chains. I think it was just let me ask you this. So switching gears, but staying with Robinhood chain, let's say Robinhood chain pops off and they actually do a good job of onboarding their 28 million retail users that are on Robinhood. What does that mean for Arbitrum? Because if I'm not mistaken, Robinhood chain is an L2. I think they still call it an L2 or L3. What is? Can you help me? Like technically speaking, is Robinhood chain? Is it an L2? Is it more of like an L3 similar to Ape chain?
It's so it's kind of like they did it actually extremely well, and I'm actually kind of surprised they did that, but it makes sense. So they are getting the security and everything of Ethereum, right? Mm-hmm. They are getting the speed and the tech of an L2, which is Arbitrum, and then they are getting anything else they wanted to build on top of that, which is their version of being built on Arbitrum. So Arbitrum has a really cool way where you can kind of build on the chain, but it be your own chain. There's a few others. Who else did this? There's like 2 or 3 others that's extremely popular that also did this as well. But it's kind of like the really nice combo, and I think it's exactly what Vitalik kind of envisioned when he was more so talking about like L2s, and we call them L3s. I mean, I still think they technically are, but kind of the combo effort of everything. Yeah. And plus, 10% of everything that goes back to Arbitrum. Like their token's pumping.
Okay, that was going to be my question. How financially, what does it mean for Arbitrum? So that tells me 10%. It's probably more profitable, a better revenue generator for Arbitrum than it is for ETH mainnet, right?
Yep.
Is that broken, or do you think that's how it's supposed to be structured? Should these L2s?
I think it's supposed to be.
Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely supposed to be. I mean, think about it. Literally, anyone can technically go to Arbitrum and spin up their own chain. Anyone. They built it in a way with the tech, with the finality, with everything that they have, to where anyone could do that. And in order to do that, obviously, it saves you a ton of money. It saves you a ton of effort, and they've proven it. Is there a
TLDR or an easy way to understand the difference between that, what Arbitrum, I can't remember what they call it, that compared to Optimism's, is Optimism Orbit, or is that Arbitrum?
Nah, I think you talk about the orbit chain. Yeah, I'm pretty. Didn't they sunset that?
Oh, I misunderstood. Because I thought like Base was an Optimism or orbit chain.
Roll up.
Yeah, again, we're over my pay grade when it comes to how these things are structured, technically speaking. But like, I guess at the highest level, Base is routes through Optimism. Robinhood chain routes through Arbitrum. Routes through is probably not the proper. I know I'm not sounding really intelligent here, but does, like, what's the difference? Or is it just too technical to even? Is there an easy way to explain like how Robinhood is to Arbitrum compared to Base is to Optimism?
I honestly wouldn't have an easy way to explain that, and I also truly, I mean, that's just not my lane. I'm not super deep into the technical differences of like chains themselves because really I did. But it's super interesting. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff where I don't know if you could really put it in layman terms, to be honest.
Makes sense. I mean, I get it. I get that I don't get it, and not that I really need to. It just makes me think like, okay, I agree with you as we head forward. I think things are just more and more chain agnostic, but I still see not just centralized exchanges, not just financial platforms like Robinhood and Coinbase launching L2s. I still see, I think we'll have more chains in our future to where, as you described it earlier, I'm trying to think how exactly you described it. They get the security of ETH, the speed of Arbitrum, and the control to do kind of whatever they want on their own. Without having to build out their own blockchain. I think that's probably the most logical path forward for new chains versus going out and try to launch a new layer 1 or your own L2. But I say that not really knowing the pros and cons of launching your own L2 that's EVM or going the route of Base and Robinhood chain. Are they going to?
A lot of it has to do with infra and cost,
Mm-hmm.
and also just integrations. Like when you spin up everything that's brand new, I mean, I think Robinhood did a beautiful example where there was over 250 tools, not apps, tools that already had proven, tested Robinhood integration support almost before they even made the announcement.
Yeah.
And when you spin up a new chain, when you spin up a new anything, I mean, think about it. You got to get it in MetaMask. You got to go ahead and do a scan, you know, whether it's Etherscan, ArbScan, whatever. You have to do all these integrations. You have to have bridges. You have to have tokens. You have to have liquidity. Like there's so much stuff that goes into it. Whereas that's why a lot of people do go to Solana, because they do have a lot of just very easy integrations. They also have a lot of welcoming, like, hey, you know, if you want to come here and build, like, I have all these connections. This is what we need. This is what you got to do. Boom, boom, done. That's why everyone launched, last year, I think their tokens on Solana, because it was all just integrated between all the tools. Whereas on Ethereum and everything else is kind of, it's not that easy. Now, obviously, with Robinhood, I mean, they had the name. So I'm sure everyone was banging at their doors to do that. But it's I mean, there's so much infra and tech and other stuff that goes on beyond it. And also, I think we're in an era of AI and, you know, a lot of smarter gray hat or black hat hackers, where if you were building everything from the ground up versus using something that's tested and proved, you're running a higher risk from a security perspective.
And part of the security perspective, or I said, you know, hey, they get, like, or you said, they get Ethereum security with the speed of Arbitrum, and then I added their own control. Like one of the things as far as control, that's, I mean, for some, I doesn't bother me. Whatever, I'm already KYC'd with all these, with Coinbase and Robinhood, but I get where it would turn some off. Where this post here says just when I think Cash Cat topped at $150 market cap, Robinhood turns on KYC to sell. Is this why the price was up only? In order to sell, so this is interesting. It's not just to withdraw, to sell a token on Robinhood chain unless this is just another engagement farm here, because it does say made with AI.
Was that legit though?
It says made with AI, so probably it's probably rage baity. I did see though that I think you do have to KYC at some point. I would guess it's when you go to withdrawal, which makes sense. Like that's just there's no way around that if you live in the US. But to KYC to sell would be a whole nother dynamic. And yeah, I just noticed it says made with AI, so probably not real. Blame Mayhem for that one. A kid. He does a good job with most of the co-production, but every once in a while they get us with one. Just like World got me with the fake out that it actually is they're not moving to Robinhood chain. English NFT said, yeah, his understanding is they just use the tech stack, but it's not connected or part of Arbitrum. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's always how I understood it. Yeah, that's I guess my understanding as well, but at the same time, it doesn't fully make sense to me in my head. I get it, but I don't get it if I'm making less sense. But speaking of Robinhood, things continue to pop off over there. Not just Cash Cat, several memes. The volume is pretty crazy. Some NFTs continue to pop, and the meme coins are on another level. It's not just Robinhood chain memes, though. You got, as I mentioned earlier, Ape Chain up big on the day once again. That's 2 days in a row following Figgy's thread. And markets are showing some signs of life. Rect up again. They've had a huge week. They also launched Rect Market yesterday. I don't know exactly what it is yet. I'm curious if anyone has any guesses. But that was after some big threads from our guy OSF over there. They launched Rect Market. I'll pin it up top. Right now, all it is it's mkts.rec.com, markets.rec.com. They do have an X account. Again, this is going to be pinned up top here in about a second. And you basically go and it's just drop your email. So be early. I think they did say you get like 20% coupon off of any Rec drinks if you do join the email list. Curious if anyone has any takes on what it might be. Those guys are dialed into markets. I mean, I don't know if it's still called Degens. For a while, like their initial Discord before Rec Guy even, they had like a Degens, not Degen like Degen Network, but a Degens, DEGENZ, I believe it was. And they had a good daily, it was just a good breakdown on crypto markets in particular. And I think they've kept that going. Whether this is kind of like a rebrand or they have other things, up their sleeve, I don't really know. But yeah, the Degens, it looks like it's still. I'm not going to click random links. I'm not sure. But if anyone is, we're probably overdue with all their movement lately. Probably overdue to get OSF on. I will, in addition to that, Rec Markets, I will pin his recent. He had a recent thread that it's just like he's calling it. Feels like April of 2023. He's bottom signals, bottoms in, the whole balloon underwater. And I don't know. I'm not going to say that we are, but it does feel like there's some, despite the macro stuff still being a wreck, despite, oh, by the way, Moonbirds, I was looking for that. I saw the other post. Moonbirds, for anyone that has a Moonbird nested, you get an exclusive Vibes TCG nesting promo. Well done. I'd love to see it. I am, if I'm going to talk about being a fan of alignment and driving value back to your OG supporters, I need to give credit when they do exactly that. And that's a nice. And you think about like from a TCG standpoint, fast forward, and let's say they become a top 10 TCG. Man, now every time you drop a new season, even just giving a single promo card to your holders, like the supply, while you're dropping a second NFT collection, it seems dilutive and doesn't seem like a great idea. But when you're talking in the TCG world, even 20,000 of a card is low quantity. And I think there's definitely something there. So whether it was playing the whole time or reactive, I don't really care. I think it's it's good to see, and I'm still looking for Ovi's recent post here. He just not that he's necessarily a high. I mean, he does post frequently, but he's a big supporter of his community, and when people talk about Rect, he often gives them some love. So I'm digging through his feed to find the post I was looking for. I'm going to pin that up top here in a sec. But here we go. Talking Rect. So let's do this. This is a good segue. There's a few other threads and posts out there. A lot of stuff coming out in the last 24 hours or so. People don't forget about the GME though. I know at least Frosties. I've seen some others that are saying, "Hey, don't." Wasn't that long ago. Let's not forget about GME and them shutting the chain down when things were pumping there. Looks like Machiavelli giving the Welcome Apes crew some love. Apparently, I'm guessing he got some recognition for Community Member of the Month, maybe. I did not see the Welcome Apes post, but I just saw Machiavelli's comment below. Congrats, if that is correct. Very well deserved. And Robinhood, the world is flat. So it's like while I do think the post was just trolling from World Markets and Solana, might they be doing something together? It's just I don't know. Like they've really...
that was the world is flat. So Robinhood's been doing probably every like 6-ish months, like different like announcements, and that announcement was pretty much them expanding to different parts of the world. Canada has access to Robinhood. They can do crypto now too. A few countries in Europe has access to Robinhood markets, which they didn't before. So that was just an event.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, maybe that's what prompted Solana to kick off the troll. I don't know, but is there a downside of doing that? I mean, I don't care. They got me, but they not only got me, they got, like, when you think about trolling and fake posts, fake news, not only are you fooling a percentage of the humans, myself, you're also fooling the bots. While I don't cover everything in it, I do get a daily debrief from Claude. One of my agents there just goes and scans X and the internet and looks for recent 24-hour news. Bullet point number 3 today: world dumps Solana for Robinhood chain 1 week after launch. 21,000 posts. It calls it the single biggest crypto story on X overnight. Prediction market darling World announced on July 8th it's migrating off Solana just 1 week after debuting on Phantom on July 1st, moving to Robinhood chain. Robinhood's new Arbitrum-based L2 for tokenized stocks that also launched July 1st to pitch instant access to Robinhood's 28 million mainstream customers across 38 countries, fiat on-ramps, and deep liquidity. World says there was no technical fault with Solana, which tells you it's a pure distribution play, not a tech fix. Or you just got engagement farm too, Mr. Agent. So like again, they probably course correct pretty quickly there, but I mean, the Claudes and ChatGPTs of the world, but I don't know. I mean, I get it. It worked. You got eyeballs and drove some engagement, but I don't know if that's always the best thing. Speaking of agents, I pinned up top Rita Ridas had his agent do a bull prepare an infographic, a bull thesis on Ape. That is pinned up top as well for your reading pleasure. And I think that's a good time. I see Drew coming back up here, but that's a good time. Let me get in a quick market update here, and then we will keep the combo flowing. I'm trying to figure out how I can default back to this screen here, but we'll work on that off show. Diego says, yeah, it's simple engagement farming. They set the tune and everyone starts doing the same copy pasta post announcements. They trend. Exactly. And I think that's part of how can an LLM determine sarcasm or trolling versus real data, especially in a world where so many people take it and run with it. There is so much copy pasta, and then you get 21,000 posts all talking about the same thing, the LLMs don't know it's fake. And again, long term, does it really matter? Probably not. But I can see scenarios where it does matter. It does have a negative impact potentially. Yahoo Finance even got. So it's like, and this is their intent. This is like World posted the Yahoo thing. So like they like, it's a marketing tactic. It worked. It's getting eyeballs. They're now calling it the hottest prediction market in crypto, even though it just launched a week ago. And it by I think probably every single metric except for maybe new users, but I would even guess it's probably not even number one in new users yet because it's so new. It's the hottest prediction market in crypto. Like it worked. They're getting the headlines, although this says advertisement. So like, are they paying for advertisement to even further fan the flames of their fake news? I don't know. Again, probably not that big a deal. Probably doesn't matter, but it's I do wonder. I'm not saying there is downside. I'm not saying it's a bad move. I just wonder, is there downside to having fake news go viral like that from the brand standpoint? If you have any hard opinions one way or the other, let me know, and we'll dive into it. But speaking of diving into it, let's get see, not everyone likes it. Pure lazy slop. Can't come up with something original. We're sharing, so they lean into the lowest bottom of the barrel content. Yeah, I'm not hating, but I also don't love it. Like I'm not like, oh, they got me, so now I'm gonna hate on it. It's just, is it worth the added eyeballs? Is it worth tricking the LLMs? Like, because I do think there theoretically could be some downside to doing so, but just one man's opinion. But speaking of getting into it, let's get into this daily market update. This is the daily market update here on Coffee with Captain. Don't go anywhere. It's just a quick intro, and then we're going to dive into, first we'll start with tokens, and we'll look at some NFTs, which also having some interesting moves there as well. We got a few new, looks like a few new intro videos here. Producer Payne working double times. It's not just the builder's domain intro. We've got a couple down there, or that they just all got moved around. But anyways, this is the daily market update.
Coffee brewing. Yeah, the market's in play. Charts on the screen. What the numbers gonna say? We got offer in the cup every single day. Coffee with Captain. Market update on the way.
Alrighty, starting with top tokens, and we're gonna look first at, this is, but just by sorted by market cap here, but we will then look at some of the other ones that just popped on the day. Bitcoin up 1.25%, ETH basically flat. They're 62,868 and 1744 respectively. BNB up 0.93%, XRP up 0.97%, Solana up 0.79, Tron up 0.9, Hyperliquid down 1.4. Mostly a green day. Hyperliquid is the only red one in the top 10, but like very minor, up 1%, down 1%. No major moves amongst the big ones. But if we look at sort of by 24 hours, Arbitrum up 12%, EtherFi up 7.68%. I actually, when the founder came out and was going at the cast card, I meant to go long EtherFi, and I did not. And then I also, the migraine yesterday, I failed to short Stable, and I did not see what Stable. Stable's not, it's not up big on the day, so my short wouldn't have wrecked me. But Lighter also up, VVV also up big. They're all up over 6.92%. Avalanche up 4.92%. Canton up 4.6%. So some solid. Athena up 4.16%. WorldCoin up 3.7. Some solid winners there. If Stable's down double digits, I'm going to be pretty salty because a paper trade that I did not make, it's only down 1.46%. So not a huge sell off from the I think it was like 32 million unlocked yesterday. Not huge, but still not nothing from that unlock. Assuming that played a role, not certain, but looks like it might have. back to the market update, however, in addition to, well, let me go back to search. It's not in the top 100, but I mentioned Rect has been on a heater. ApeCoin's on a heater. Rec's on a heater. Rec's up 24% in the last 24 hours. Pretty impressive. Not sure what exactly drove that, other than OSF working for the everyone's bags. $1 million of volume, market cap now up to 37. I think we looked at that last week and it was like 29. If we go back on the last week, it's up 80% on the past week. We go back on the past month, 62%. So really, really pumping in the past week, up 82%. 25% of that came in the last day. Not as impressive, but also having a nice little run here. This is the last 24 hours, up 8%. In the last week, it's up 12.93%. Gave up a little bit, but it's been on a pretty good run following the Asian tour and Figgy sharing his thesis there. Looking over at NFTs, what is this sort of by 1 day volume? ApeCoin leading the way. This must be all chains. So a lot of volume flowing into Ape, up 8% on the day. You see CashCat there is pulled back down 22%. That was the first big runner on Robinhood chain. Hoodie was another runner. It was up 3,314%. It's up now, 10 million volumes up to 2.3 million FTV. Let's sort just by chain and we'll take a look at Robinhood. So volume wise, CashCat still leading the way there. Again, down 22% on the day, but it's still at 90 million FTV. I think it topped around 150. Hoodie is at 2.3 million. Arrow at 26 million. The Juggernaut at 6 million. Dog in the Hood up big on the day, 3 million. I mean, you can see several of these 1 day changes are actually Dog in the Hood's down on the day, but up big on the 30 day. Wishbone up 23% on the day. Trying to look for another. Most of these are over, they're like in the single digit millions. Arrow's 26 million, CashCat's 90 million. Most of the rest are like 1 to 6 million as far as their FTV goes, and then a few that have yet to still break 1 million. But the volume is hard to not notice. Really pumping hard over there. Looking at, so Rec did get the KuCoin announcement. I forgot about that. Thanks, Mayhem. So they did get the KuCoin announcement. They went, what was it on KuCoin? It wasn't, I don't remember what because they were already on KuCoin previously, right? As far as like spot trading, was it perps or what went live on KuCoin? And then the Rec Markets announcement, yeah, but why would that pumped Rec coin? Do we know? Any ideas? Was there anything? Yeah, it was perps. It was perps that went live on KuCoin. Thanks. Here's another one from TMA, who's had a pretty decent pulse on some degen stuff, whether talking NFTs. He's bull posting Alfie. It looks like still, sub 200K FTV. So please don't put any money into a meme coin that you can't afford to lose, especially one that's below $1 million FTV. It can go to zero in a blink. Speaking of going to zero in a blink, like the Shellmates did. Shellmates rugged. So down bad on that one. Shellmates rugged, but yet Wackyville, I picked the wrong degen mint. Wackyville pumped to 1.69. Now, granted, it's a much smaller supply, but it was like a 0.069 mint, and it just ripped up. It's not even showing me the daily increase. I don't know why, but yeah, big winner on the day in terms of NFTs. Let's sort this by volume as well. Apes down 0.2% to 9.25. Pudgy down 2% to 4.43. Hypers down 3%. Mutants down 1%. Gremlin Cartel. This is the leading Robinhood NFT, at least in terms of volume at this point. It's up to 0.026 ETH, up another 18% on the day. Wackyville, as I mentioned, 120 sales on a supply of like 111. So seeing some turnover there. It's up to 1.69. Quirky's 1.02. It's basically flat. Azuki down 6% to 1.11. Was here's the easy play of the month was, I guess, just when Angela got proposed to on the Empire State Building, we should just went and swept Unlimited by Angela. It just collectors collecting. I mean, it's a small collection. You know, you can see only 3 sales yesterday. There's 62 owners, but up another 28%. The floor up to 5.9. And you know what? Why? Like, is it part of the moment? Yeah. But you know what? Like, it's wicked cool photography. It's stuff that could AI replicate? Yeah, but I think this is a scenario where people aren't going to care nearly as much about some AI image versus the experience here. The human element of this is the risk they're taking on scaling these buildings, and like they're quite literally putting their life at risk. So I think stuff like, you know, Angela's work and, you know, Drifter Shoots, like I think that, not that I think all like artists, whether regardless of their medium, whether it's oil on canvas or, you know, pure digital like Beeple, or, you know, they're photographers. I think, especially when it comes to photography, I think there's absolutely some insulation here for extreme photography. I don't know what you actually call it. They probably have an actual, you know, subsector or, you know, a name for it, but since I don't know what that is, I'll just call it extreme photography. It's yeah, I don't see, like, does she maybe she stops making work? Maybe she gets married and they go off and they're out of the public eye, but I doubt it. I mean, they're went viral across every platform, not just crypto Twitter. Like, if you log into Facebook today, you'll probably see people, you know, they're like a week in rear. So you'll probably see people doing, you know, brands that are promoting, you know, have some meme with, you know, their business name on the flag that they that they hung on the Empire State Building. But it's like from Facebook, Instagram, I'm sure TikTok, like it went viral on all channels, and she gained millions of followers. I mean, she already had a big following, but I think gained millions. I could be off a little bit. Regardless, gained a lot of new followers, and you could argue that her brand is bigger today than ever before. And on a small collection like this, I hope she keeps making NFT art. I hope she keeps putting work on chain, and I can see value accruing. But if she does it where she, you know, whether it's a allow list or she provides some sort of utility perks to these, don't go buy it for utility and perks, buy it because you like the art. But I could see some value accruing back to this OG collection. Anyways, back to the list. CloneX, for some reason, pumping once, they're not pumping, they're down 2%, but getting some volume. Little Pudgies at 0.46. Digidaigaku, haven't talked about them for a while. Down 27% on the day, though. I wonder what Gabe did to upset some people. I kid. I had no idea what might have happened there, but surprised to see it take such a dip. Milady's basically flat. Chimper's up again another 6% to 0.7. And Wingston by rally down 55%, Trolls down 22%, Moonbirds up slightly, Fugs flat, non-playable characters down slightly. Bad day for the recent degen mints. I was even looking to see if I could find where Shellmates is, and it's not there. But it was, I didn't see what happened. I heard it was called a rug. I didn't. I'm not saying that. I saw some people call it a rug, and I did see that it floor was down like 50 to 100%. So. Something happened there, but you see most of these new ones are Robinhood chain, Robinhood Ape Cartel, Robinhood Stonk, Hood Squad, Rock Hood. So I'm surprised. I'm sure it's over there. We just didn't take off. Yeah, I literally the next thing I was saying, I'm surprised we haven't seen Robinhood Punks yet. There they are. We do have Robinhood Punks. It's 0.0009 ETH. Most of the derivatives on a new chain will not catch any momentum. If they do, they often speed run to zero. Gremlin Cartel, not a derivative. I guess it's its own thing. Is there ever going to be any utility there? Is there going to be anything? I have no idea. I've not explored. I've not went deep, but it is getting some major volume. And if the chain sticks, there could be opportunities to make money, whether it's on the meme coin runner of the day, whether it's on NFTs. It's at least worth paying attention to, and giving OpenSea some credit. They made it really easy to trade both Robinhood NFTs and Robinhood tokens. You don't need to do anything. Just you can do everything cross-chain via OpenSea. So little bit of flowers to the team over there. Machiavelli, I saw you jumped up. We got Joey coming up as well. Since we do have a guest joining us here in 10 minutes, I will take a breather and see if either of you want to get on this conversation before I go to. Looks like I see Joey's hand. Machiavelli, if you want to get in, just throw me a hand as well. But no pressure. I did want to share this from Blue in the chat. Just shared the Robinhood's L2 records 193 daily active addresses and 563 million in DEX volume in the first week, driven almost entirely by meme coin trading. I also saw Hayden from Uniswap. I'm not Hayden Winks. Jesus, sorry. I promise I don't have best ball on the brain, but Hayden's with he's a best ball content creator. Hayden Adams is the Hayden I was looking for. He recently said Robinhood chain is going absolutely crazy. 500 million in 24-hour volume on Uniswap. That's 10x what it did yesterday. So from 50 million to 500 million in a day is more volume than any chain other than ETH mainnet. Like it's definitely got some motion right now. And will it stick? I mean, you can see his screenshot cash cat was 110 million. It's down to 90 million now. So I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you to go trade on Robinhood chain. I'm not telling you not to go trade on Robinhood chain. I would be like, if you're going to do it, everyone's risk tolerance is different. Probably look for something, probably watch put back on your trading shoes and don't just buy hype. Don't just buy what you're seeing on the timeline. Buy it before you see it on the timeline. Look for volume. Try to catch the next daily runner, not one that's already ran to 100 million. Now, Cash Cat could become the next $1 billion meme, and it is the main meme of Robinhood. It's possible. You could hit a 10x from here, but if I'm playing memes, I'm not playing memes with any sort of material funds to look for a 10x. I'm playing memes. I'm playing the trenches for 1,000x. You're probably not getting that with Cash Cat. So that would be, if personally, how I would be playing the chain right now, and I'm probably going to splash around a little bit of chips over there today, is attempt to identify the next Cash Cat. Something like, I'm not saying it's Alfie, but just because since we just saw TMA talking about something like Alfie that's sub $1 million, that could be the runner. Now, I say that, while is it likely that could Cash Cat go down from here? Yes. It's extremely unlikely that Cash Cat's going to be zero tomorrow. Alfie could be literal zero tomorrow, zero liquidity, and it could be trading at 5,200 market cap. So just that it's the lower you go, typically the riskier it is. But if I'm playing memes, I'm chasing asymmetric returns, and I don't feel that that's likely if we're talking about something that already has a $100 million market cap. It's possible, but a good win there is it goes to $1 billion and you hit a 10x. Well, that I can't remember Alfie, it can go to 1.5 million and you hit a 10x. I think it's just much more realistic for a brand new meme. But congratulations to everyone who got Cash Cat early, and keep taking those shots. Joey, go ahead and get in here. GM.
We've had this conversation about like L2s, I don't know how many times on this show. And I know Robinhood was built on Arbitrum's technology as a layer 2 to Ethereum. But I'm just wondering, like, does Robinhood build their own blockchain just so they can say it's our own blockchain? Like, I'm still confused as to like why we need all of these different blockchains.
Wait, what's the question? You're saying instead of the Robinhood chain they already have, you think in the future you're asking will they build their own another chain?
Yeah, I'm saying is why we're like Robinhood blockchain is built with Arbitrum's technology as a layer 2 to ETH. like, why? I guess I'm just talking out loud here, but like, why do we need all of these layer twos, right? Like, why do we have more layer twos launching? I'm assuming Robinhood decided to do it because they wanted to have their own name on it. But if they're using Arbitrum's technology and they're launching as a layer two to ETH, like, why do we need a Robinhood chain?
Well, I mean, for one, it gives them not just branding, it gives them control. Instead of them onboarding their 28 million retail users and sending them to Arbitrum and explaining what Arbitrum is, they're just onboarding their existing users who know Robinhood. They're onboarding them to the Robinhood chain. Same thing with Base. You know, Coinbase is onboarding their customers to Base instead of having to explain what optimism is. I don't know if we need more new chains, but I think for specific use cases, for brands, I mean, I think 8chain's a great example of this. Similar in the fact that they're leveraging Arbitrum stack, but it's for a very specific use case. And they're doing things, they get the security of Ethereum while the speed and low cost of Arbitrum, and they're able to do their own stuff in other side. They've got a flagship dApp that makes sense to have their own chain. I don't know. I know our Vlad, Robinhood CEO, has been talking a lot about RWAs, but I don't know exactly what they're planning. Will they have their own flagship dApp? I don't know, but I think it makes sense for them to have their own chain that is not a new L1. I think that makes a lot of sense, and I do think we'll see more of this. It's actually, as I talk through it, it kind of does make me more bullish Arbitrum and Optimism, because as far as I know, they're the two kind of leaders in the clubhouse when it comes to tech stacks that enable another third party to spin up their own chain off of their tech stack. L2, L3, not to get lost in the technical specificities or the vernacular there, but I do think it makes sense, and I think we'll see more of these custom use or brand specific chains. For instance, to withdraw from Robinhood chain, you got a KYC, I think, unless that was just more engagement baiting. They want to know who their users are. Part of it may be for branding and control. Part of it may be for compliance, to make sure that they can geogate stuff and make sure they can age gate stuff and make sure that they're doing everything that they're supposed to do as a licensed centralized exchange, that they lose that control. It'd be like a trust me bro, or maybe they don't even have the control at all if they were to just, hey, let's send our users to Arbitrum. Go ahead, Drew.
Real quick before Drew jumps in. So I know that you used to be able to trade crypto on Robinhood. That's how my dad does it. So is this like a play? I guess I'm wondering, like, how does that change for everybody? Does Robinhood chain stay specifically for like Web3 natives, but then the Robinhood Web2 app is now like stays as the place for like Web2 people to buy and sell? Like, does this look like they're segmenting their business?
No, I mean, I think so. Like their dApp is the Robinhood app. I mean, the whole purpose of them having a chain is fees. I mean, obviously it's more control, but it's fees. Like, it's the same reason why did Polymarket just roll out their own PUSD? It's all fees, right? And so I think the biggest thing, that Vlad talks about whenever he hosts any of his like monthly sessions or anything, if anyone ever joined that, he wants 24/7 trading. He wants 24/7 trading, just like crypto. He wants it for stocks, right? Like, he wants it 24/7, so that way it's more fees for Robinhood. It's more access to, he plays the, more access for everyone, right? Like the whole, Robinhood like backstory and everything, right? He wants normal people to have the exact same access to the financial market that all these like Bloomberg terminals and all these rich mofos have, right? So it's truly all about fees, and they have the app. It's the Robinhood app. They have the credit card. It's the Robinhood credit card, which is phenomenal in my opinion. And so now this is more about RWAs. This is more about 24/7 stock trading. This is more about instant finality of cross-world transactions, right? And getting everyone to use one app for everything financial related, given that they are not only just a financial app. They also have their Robinhood own brokerage behind the scenes, which is the whole thing with GME. They have their own Robinhood everything, and they are leading the way to push all of this also in countries where it's never been pushed before. They're the only ones to also make that. So a lot of it has to do, at least the core principles of it, a lot of it has to do with that.
Yep. Well said. Well said. And I think it makes a lot of sense for them to do this for all the reasons you just described. And I think not only does it make sense for them to do this, I think when you say, oh, they're giving it 10% of the revenue back to Arbitrum, probably also makes sense. Versus building out their own entire new L1 or their own L2 off of ETH. I think, and what I still struggle to understand is L2 versus L3. Like they're using Arbitrum's tech stack here, but it's still called an L2. Again, it's tomato, but someday I'm going to have to go into the deep dive just so I can understand. I don't need to explain it, but I think it makes a lot of sense I think you're right, Drew. I think 24/7 trading is at the heart of it as well. Let's do this. Let's go back to Joey, and then we'll get Blue in here, and then we got our guest joining us soon. So maybe another topic or two to hit on, but go ahead, Joey.
Do we think that Robinhood launching their own blockchain and with everything they have behind it is now pushing them, like when we look at like the rankings of who's out there, like we've got Coinbase, and then you've got your traditional like Fidelity and T. Rowe Price and all these other ones. Does this kind of in your mind, Drew or Cap or whoever, like push Robinhood like to the top of like financial institutions, both in like traditional and crypto now with what they're doing and their forward thinking?
I think so. Like you got to look at Robinhood as they were pure stock Web 2, like maybe for the average user all the way up to someone who doesn't have access to like a Bloomberg terminal, or maybe they do. Whereas Coinbase, it was always crypto. It's been crypto since 2014, right? And so now you see Coinbase trying to do the opposite, where they're bringing stocks into it and they're trying to get more of the Web 2 audience. So I think that in my personal opinion, Robinhood is making its way, at least for the US eggs. That's all I can talk about. And then as soon as X releases X money for everything, I personally truly think that X is going to be up there almost as well as kind of like a hidden gem of a lot of this too. And then I think the rest are going to follow, but they are leading the way. And, I got pretty fucked in the whole GME thing. And I really didn't like the way Vlad did it with that other dude, with their money market maker and all this kind of stuff. But, I'm pretty heavily invested into Robinhood personally. And I think that all the changes that they've been making have, I don't want to say reprimanded that, but at least have shown like, okay, cool. I can actually use this myself to be a more savvy investor. And as long as they don't pull some shit like that again, or like, anything that deters the normal user from trading, then I think they're heading in the right direction.
I agree. One of the things that I haven't, our bubble has been talking about this stuff. I haven't seen it, I haven't seen mainstream media talk about it at all yet, probably because they got big banks in their pocket. But you have like Robinhood Earn, lend USDG on chain through a self-custody wallet, earns estimated 7% APY. X Money is offering 6%. Like people were talking about, like there was so much pushback on the Clarity Act for stablecoin and stablecoin yield. Robinhood and X Money are doing the thing. Like I think at the end of the day, this is good for consumers. It's good for the end user, so long as they don't just burn through their savings on prediction markets and sports betting. But I think it's great for consumers, and I have to imagine at some point it applies pressures to the traditional banking rails to where they get more competitive. In the days of offering 0% interest on a checking account and a savings account, or 0.43% on a savings account, they're just it's getting so much easier to earn a reasonable return on your savings, on your operating account, your checking account, whatever you want to call it. Like you don't need thanks, Brigadol. Dort, we've got our guest in the green room. We're going there right in a second. I saw Blue was up here, but we lost her. She had a couple comments in the chat. I'll pin those up top here in a second. But my point is, you don't need to be deep in the DeFi streets to earn good yield on on your money anymore. Like they're making it accessible to all. Joey, real quick, I saw Blue came back up, so like 30 seconds or less, lightning round, because we do have our guests. I don't want to keep them waiting too much longer. Joey, quick response. We'll get Blue in here for a quick response. Then we need to be respectful of our guest time.
Yeah. Speaking of GME, has there been a company right now that recent history that has completely changed their model and found more success? Like people that got in on the stock and they made a bunch of money when that whole thing happened with like Reddit and whatever. But like if you're still sitting on GME, you have to be really happy. They've gone from they 5x their business. If I remember the numbers correctly from yesterday, they 5x their business in a year because they've completely changed their model from being just like video games, a traditional video game store, to a full-blown collectible store now. And they're absolutely killing it. Their power packs, partnership with PSA, like that company, what that executive team has decided to do, they should write a book on, because the numbers coming out of their reports are absurd compared to when we thought they were going to go out of business, because nobody was buying video games anymore like they used to.
Yeah, it's going to get really interesting if they also acquire eBay. Blue, did you want to get in here like truly like 10, 15, 20 seconds? Thanks for the added comments and the details on Robinhood in the chat. Do appreciate it. So I want to get to you, but I don't want to keep our guests waiting much longer. GM
for sure. To keep it short, basically the L2 for Robinhood is so that they can create their own rules and be able to like have an everything app, right? And then basically, long story short, people are like leasing those assets versus kind of like owning those assets.
Yep. No, well said. I agree. And as we shift gears, we got a perfect segue, courtesy of honorary forever co-host Outer Lumen. She just dropped this in the chat, and this will be a great way to set up our special guest of the day. Says, how awesome is this? I've admired the Claynosaurz collection in the team building ever since I heard them on Coffee with Captain. Thank you so much, Swiveljaw, for this perfect Lumaray Popkins. Excited to join the community. And hang out, Outer. You get to hear a little more from this excellent team over at Claynosaurz. Join me and give us some love. If you haven't already, give this space a like, a repost, a bookmark. Smash that like and subscribe over on YouTube. Drop some comments on the abstract chat. You know the deal. Hit all the buttons and join me in welcoming to the stage Blake and Andrew. We'll get Andrew up here in a second. And welcome, gentlemen. Always a pleasure. GM, thanks so much for joining us. Truly excited to get into this. I said it yesterday. I don't know how you might have any more announcements, so I won't pry too hard for alpha, but on an absolute heater. I can't remember the last time we saw a team moving like this, where seemingly every day you have not an announcement of an announcement, but something really big, quite literally pushing the space forward, doing things differently. And before we even get started, thank you on behalf of the space at large. I am. It's refreshing to see teams moving like you all are moving and growing outside of crypto, growing outside of the Web3 base, while at the same time, very much so remembering your core supporters and rewarding those core supporters and bringing them along for the ride. So excited to get in this one this morning. But I guess we probably should do, by way of introduction, before we jump into all things Claynosaurz and all these, and Hebrew and all these recent updates. Andrew, I know we had you on not too long ago. Yep. But Andrew and Blake, do you mind just quick background? Anything maybe you haven't shared previously with all of your interviews, all the other social media that you've done? Anything that maybe that even your core Clayno community might not know about yourselves or your journey into the space? Andrew, we'll start with you.
I'm actually, you know what? I'm at Blake's whim here, because we're doing so many things, like you said, that even I know what they are, but I've almost lost track of everything in the order that are coming. I asked Blake, I think a week ago, I'm like, isn't this like a marketer's dream? There's like so many things for you to, like, chief marketing officer, like you got stuff to do. He's like, okay, buddy, like it's a lot of stuff, you know? So yeah, we kind of like packed the can in here. So I mean, obviously I was on the weekend, or like it was the weekend, right? Like we talked briefly about the equity thing and paying it back to the community and really having us confer value back to those folks. I think that's been talked about quite a bit. And then we did the how that allocation works earlier this week. We've done the series episodes that have been coming out, and that's all culminating into something that's, I think, launching this morning. So I don't want to jump the gun or pre-fire the cannon.
He's already said too much. Cut him off. Hey, introductions here first and foremost. Tell us about yourself.
Am I making that really sort of ignorant / arrogant? People know who I am.
Exactly.
Andrew Sorp on Twitter, CEO Claynosaurz, co-CEO Hibu alongside Sherry. And yeah, we've been cooking for a long time. So most people know us for Claynosaurz, and that Hibu studio thing we've been working on for the last over a year now is going to start showing what we're working on soon.
Is this a real fact? Is this a real fact from Diego in the chat? Diego says, fun fact, Andrew was a Casanova lover on Venezuela. He left a lot of heartbroken girls over there. Is this real?
I'd love for that to be true. It sounds very adventurous. But no, I think there's an ongoing joke in the community because I haven't had no time to do my hair or shave or anything in months. My wife keeps giving me crap about it. You can see Blake's rocking the similar sort of vibe. We've all been heads down. Not even time to get ready for anything. This is the cleanest I've looked in a while, so
you guys
we're
looking
happy
good.
Where we are. But I think that's where the joke's coming from.
Looking good and understood with all. I'm not just blowing smoke. I said it without you guys on the show, so it's not just because you're here. It's really impressive. Not just what you've announced, how you're announcing it, the cadence of things. So Blake, I do want to by way of any background, any introduction, anything that you want to add, fill in any gaps there, but. We'll just start with Andrew's cue up there. Has this been a marketer's dream here over the past, well, not just the past week, but we'll say the past week in particular with all the, all the ammunition you have, so to speak, to go to the people with?
It's a dream, but also can be a nightmare because of how much we have to roll out in the short time frame. So it has been difficult. We're literally taking it day by day. We've obviously had this planned rollout for months and months and months, probably since the beginning of the year. So when it finally kind of hits to go time, then it's okay, do we have everything we need? Do we have all the graphics? Do we have all the copy? Do we have all the spaces lined up? Do we have all the partners? I mean, it's back to back to back to back to back. And it's obviously not just me. It's Guesty, it's Forte, it's Nick, it's Andrew, it's the whole team is really just pulling together. But yeah, I mean, I would say what the dream is for me as a marketer is just working on the Claynosaurz product. My background is in entertainment and gaming. I started out in on the agency side of entertainment at a agency called Trailer Park in Hollywood, and I was working on promos and trailers for all the major networks, from MTV to FX to all the traditional ones like ABC. You name it. If it was a television channel, we were probably doing stuff. This is pre-Netflix days, pre-streaming days. And I actually, my career path goes from that to recognizing what streaming was going to do to the industry. And I got out of TV and went into gaming. So I went to Ubisoft and I launched a few of their AAA titles. My first title was on the brand marketing team was on Watch Dogs 1. And that broke day one records for the as a new IP for the studio. Unheard of. They were really just milking on all of their success on Assassin's Creed at the time. So that was a really monumental and really proud moment for me in my marketing journey. But did launch a Far Cry series, and I was working on the Assassin's Creed that was the London one before I really got into what I would call the tech scene and startup scene. So I've been in that world for probably the last 10 years, e-com startups, independent gaming startups. So I've been at, obviously high level, AAA, talent and size companies, but also at the ground level and wearing multiple hats and figuring out what we have to do from community to social media to all that, all you name it. And I'll tell you, the one dream of a marketer is basically having a great product. And that's what Claynosaurz is if you have a great product, it makes your job easier 100%. So I'm very fortunate to have, found these guys, over 2 years ago, and, work with like such a talented team, because it makes it easier when you have like insane visuals, insane storytelling, insane, just creative all around to be able to share that with the timeline. So it's been a journey, and we're kind of, obviously been going at it strong the last like month, but we'll have a breather here in a second. But now is not the day, and next week is not the week, and next month is not the month. We are continuing to go strong.
I love it. Yeah, it's definitely like I know this all didn't come together in the last week. It's been years in the making, quite literally. Even some of the the specific activations have been probably months, if not a year plus. And I think how you mentioned, like, yeah, it's been fun. How challenging is it to line up everything when you do have? It's not just like I'm guessing some of the stuff has been being built or was getting built during this. So like to time everything up from like, okay, the micro shorts are ready. Like, is there anything that's stood out to you as like, this has been a big challenge you overcome, or any specific examples of things that, a curveball that we probably don't see on our end? It looks like everything is rolling out flawlessly, but I have to imagine when you have so many, and again, I will attest from my perspective, insanely talented team, from the product, as you point, to your point, that is being put out as super high quality. And the team, it's like you're not doing it on yourself. I give Cab credit all the time because he's in my DMs probably, maybe not every day, but multiple times a week with something you all are doing. And it's like and so I'm happy to share that here. You guys have earned media with me, like in Coffee with Captain. Like you've shown up every day. You show up on the show. You give us opportunities like this, and you help, right? Like I don't have to rely on my Claude agent to capture the latest Clayno news in a debrief, because between Cab or Andrew, like you've got a really great team of, I don't know, people who just they're in the weeds, right? They have the pulse on the space, and they help get word out there when things are going. So, but that said, like, has there been a big, just even in the last couple of weeks here, as you roll all this stuff out, any major curveballs or big challenges that we maybe haven't caught a glimpse of from our perspective?
Well, I think so. We obviously had a plan with the micro episodic series and the next phase of that. And what we look at when we're rolling this out are what are the additional narratives that we can introduce to help support this, so that it's not just one flat timeline. It's the equity piece. And like Andrew said last week, we announced that the day the lawyer said go, green light. It was like literally like the hour before or whatever. That was one piece that we knew we wanted to put in the middle of this somewhere, and it was going to be a game time decision of like, do we do it now or do we hold? And so we have a lot of those instances that have been coming up, and you'll see the same thing next week too when we make another announcement that we think is going to be very powerful, where we don't 100% have the okay, green light, everything is, but we're like 99% there. And if it can happen next week, fantastic. Everybody's going to be hyped. But if it has to wait a week after that, so be it. We'll roll with the punches. I think that's the other role of a marketer, is trying to calm people's nerves, not really, saying like none of this is really business critical. I say this all the time to the team is, if it's not going to move the needle, let's not freak out about it. We'll find a place to put in these announcements when we can. And that's what it's all about, is like, we already have the story, but like the overall story is there. It's what are these additional pieces that we can put in to help guide it and support it and make it even stronger is where we have the curveballs and things like that. So that's what makes it fun though.
That's awesome. I saw Cab joined us as well. Cab, I was giving you some flowers earlier. I do appreciate all that you share with me, and not to just give the team credit and kudos, but I saw a post of yours this morning. I think part of the other thing that helps all of you, and Blake included, is the passionate community members. I'm quoting you. You're here in this thread that you quote tweeted from Sean. I just posted that up top as well for anyone that wants to read it in detail. Sean has been one of the kindest, most grounded collectors and the community members from the start. I've had the privilege to hang out with him and a few others in that circle many times, and not just at events, really hang out. He sends words of encouragement as much as criticism when it's needed. A few times a year, I get updates about his life as a Clayno uncle, onboarding the kids at Christmas. and it's the best. I'm glad you're part of this. Thanks for the awesome thread. I'm not going to read this all in detail because it is quite the extensive thread, but it goes into a great job of telling the kind of the story all the way back from pre-mint interview and linking a lot of other resources along the way, a lot of other threads, and just really well put together. And I mentioned, like, you all have earned media with me. It's not just me. It's not just like the Spaces host. It's you have now truly a vested community. A lot of people, we talk about that, like, oh, they're vested collectors and they want to see this brand do well. Where my head goes is, what you've already created this prior to gifting them equity. Now you've got this extra, fanning the flames. Like I said this last Friday when we had you guys on, but it's like, how do other Web3 crypto native, NFT, PFP native brands, how do they not start looking at, hey, we need to do something similar? Because the lift you get out of this is, it's not just bringing in new customers and new collectors, but locking in these core members for seemingly for life. Like, it's like, that is, you probably could, could you go do a paid KOL campaign and have a bunch of KOLs put together a similar thread like Sean did? You could, but it's going to hit different. At this point, everyone knows, who's a paid mercenary versus who's a truly passionate community member. And, speaking for myself, that stuff definitely lands different. Like, Sean's thread means a lot more to me and something I'll actually read. Whereas if it was, one of the, one of the known, paid actors, I just, I kind of, I probably don't give it a second look. It probably just goes, flies, scrolling right through the timeline. I don't even pause on it. But Cab, anything to add to that? GM, by the way, welcome. Appreciate you joining us as always.
Hey guys, sorry I'm a little bit late. Yeah, I think you nailed it. Sometimes when I'm in spaces, I use the analogy of like small restaurants that eventually make it big and are important to like a neighborhood. It's not the Google reviews from tourists, from tour guides that can make those type of like boutiques. Oftentimes it's like real word of mouth that doesn't even hit like the Google zeitgeist. Maybe it's Reddit, maybe it's just like neighborhood word of mouth. It's like oftentimes within a city, it's culture. Um, you can't buy that authenticity. The best you could do is to enable it and celebrate it when it happens, which is I think is what we're doing, and that's sort of um, been part of our DNA at Claynosaurz. Is we were very people first from the beginning. We threw some of the best events. We also threw some of the best like side events, which I don't know that I would even call them events because it felt like hangouts. But we'd go to restaurants with some of the holders. We'd sometimes it was just like five of us. Every opportunity we had to do that, we did it. We understood them better. They understood where we were coming from because like we knew that trust was a big thing in the space and a superpower. But we also felt like what we're trying to do is really ambitious. Is something the space hasn't seen before. Definitely not at the time. And I think the closest thing was like Pudgies when they started doing their sort of track. But we had major ambitions and we still do, and we appreciate that that's not an easy sell. And like meeting an investor or whatever, you want to meet the people that believe in you and you want them to like hear you out because it's one thing to like tweet about it. It's one thing to be on spaces, but it's a whole different thing when you connect with people. And then the other side of that picture is we wanted to like, I remember pulling not Charizard because I wasn't that lucky, but I remember pulling some good cards in Pokemon in the schoolyard. And the memory of that with my friends or actually I grew up with Andrew and at one point I was like Yu-Gi-Oh! And I remember when we were opening packs, right? And you get like a crazy card. And everyone the euphoria that you have with your friends, like you still think about that. Or you think about like you don't think about like Call of Duty, you think more about how it felt winning the match with your friends. But that's why you still love Call of Duty, even if you don't play. Like that brand means something to you. And I think that has to do with like creating memories or community over shared interest and shared memories. It's a really powerful thing. And we were trying to fast track growing up with the brand, basically. And that's why community has been like really, really important for what we do and authenticity. We've in the early days, sometimes we were like, if we were working with like KOLs, it was maybe we would give a Clano or whatever. We've almost like never played the game where like you pay KOLs or things like that. We've felt it's not the ROI is just not there. It comes and it goes. There's nothing. There's no bigger ROI than having people that actually believe in what you're doing
Mm-hmm.
and that are there for the long run and will stick with you whether you're making mistakes or successful or whatever because they know where you're trying to go. I think that's a really really important thing. And because they're dealing with that and because they're taking a bet on something that is risky, like building a new brand in this day and age is a shot in the dark, right? And having early discovery and being an early supporter of that when there's no guarantees that that brand will make it, I mean, that deserves, like, participation. It's like it's without fans, a brand is nothing, right? And so, for us, that was the play. It was sort of a no-brainer, but dude, it's so hard. I think you guys were talking about, like, the struggles. What people don't see internally is the trials and tribulations of building a startup, of dealing with, staff, of dealing with legal, which is something that Andrew deals with all the time, of, the regulations, they change basically all the time. And clarity helped, but clarity also provided a very black and white landscape, which actually makes it tougher because now you can't operate inside of the gray. There's all these things, and that's the space. The space is nascent. There's no map. Everyone that's building in this space is chartering this like naval boat in an ocean where we haven't even discovered other lands, right? And so it's it's a struggle every day, and I think that maybe our superpower is we make it look easy, but it's anything but easy. It's like most of the team doesn't sleep at night. I mean, we're super passionate. We love what we do, but in house, it's really tough because you do everything you can to protect the community, but you do everything you can to protect the brand. And some people have short term ethos, and some people have long term ethos, and you just have to navigate that. That's kind of like that's the game. But it's awesome too.
Well, well, I mean, I'm not in agreement with everything you're saying there. It all makes sense, like logically, rationally, like yeah, it makes sense. And then I think where I was going to ask, like, it sounds easy, but it's not. It's very hard, and I think numbers will support that. When you look at, you guys met it in November of 22, is that right? There's
20, yeah,
Yes,
right
that's
at a week, 2 weeks after FTX, I think. Dude, I was on
November of
Breakpoint.
26th. It's
Yeah,
like 2 weeks after, yeah.
yeah, right after my birthday, actually. I was at Breakpoint, the very first, not the very first. I think it might have been the second one. In Lisbon for Solana, and it was incredible. It was the first time a lot of people were meeting. I think previously it was like at NFT NYC, where a lot of people were meeting each other. I was like deep in the art space with a lot of the artists, and with Monkey DAO and a bunch of like NFT projects on the Solana side, and it was such a vibe. And I remember then FTX happens at the end of that week. Like I'm basically on the plane, and we're about to mint, and you never know how it's gonna go, obviously. And so I was nervous to begin with. I was even more nervous after that. I remember we had all these war room meetings and things like that. And we stuck to our guns. I think the decision was we have to do it. Like our belief is in the brand rather than a short term like pump or anything like that. We just got to pull the trigger. And I think it made us a really tight knit, strong team because it's never been simple. We
Mhm.
never, we never minted close to the money that other projects may have made on the ETH side, and sometimes even on the Solana side, like early days. The total, the total we've made is probably less than some of the bull market mints. But my God, this brand has potential, and
So,
and so that's what we believe in, and we do everything to build it.
well, and again, minting a couple weeks after FTX is one thing by itself, but there's been hundreds, if not thousands, of other brands with potential, maybe decent IP that minted before or after that. I mean, you paid some homage to Pudgy Penguins and
Yeah,
others that have, like everything you just described as far as community, and it's like we know it's hard because having sat here for now 1,200 mornings, I've heard very similar things from dozens, if not hundreds of other brands building in this space,
well, how
but
many CTOs have there been, right?
so few have done it, right? Like what and I'm not asking you to like pick on anyone else. I'm not trying to make this PvP at all, but is there anything that like jumps out? Like have others made like a big glaring mistake along the way? Is it just they don't persevere
No,
through the down moments? Like, how
I
do you?
don't think that's what it is. I think, well, sometimes yes, maybe there's been mistakes. I don't know if I'm. Oh, can you see me? Cool. Like actually, Poppy wrote about it yesterday. He wrote a tweet where it's like, dude, if you don't have that grit, don't start a
Yeah.
project. I think in the beginning it was very opportunistic, and it was like you could throw a rock and mint, right? And so that created a system where a lot of people are creating projects thinking, yeah, like I'll figure it out. You don't know what you're getting yourself into, right? Like we're talking about a startup, and the percentage is of startups that succeed is very low. And now that the space is maturing, we're seeing that percentage come to light. I think that the Pudgy's team has an insane amount of grit. Like, but keep in mind, it was a CTO, so even the team before that, there were issues. I think our superpower has been like we grew up together, definitely me and Andrew, and the people we hired, especially at the exec level, like Blake and Jack. I also grew up with Sasha. There's so much trust, and it's basically been the same team for 4 years, and we were very clear with each other that this is going to be really hard. We're going to change the fucking world. We're going to do something really special. And so that helps you navigate when the waters get really choppy. We support each other. So I think it just comes to who you hire to make sure that they understand the North Star, all that kind of stuff. But also to kind of know that if you're going to do something as crazy as operating in an industry that's already trying to change the world, but you're going to leverage that tech and you're also going to try to change another industry, in our case, like entertainment. Most of what you do is going to come off as ludicrous in the beginning until it's obvious. That's just what pioneering is. And so a lot of times you have to have a lot of empathy for the fact that many collectors or holders won't understand the moves you make when you make them. Everyone will have a different opinion, and that's fine. You just have to stick to your guns when you feel that this is helping you get to where you want to go in a couple years, and it's going to be good for everybody.
Andrew, I'm going to give you.
Can I add to that real quick? I think I think one of the things that this team has done successfully, in compared to other projects or even just new companies starting out, is we have had the ability to say no to opportunities. We're not saying yes to everything that comes across our plate, and I think that is a superpower because. Sure, we can build, hype and momentum on the timeline for a quick moment, but we have the ability to recognize that that's what that's going to be, and that we need to hold our yeses for when they matter most. And that to me is a big superpower. And I'll use the Claynosaurz mobile game as a perfect example. I mean, the game is done; it's ready to go. We developed with Gameloft. Everything is. Like the tests have been great. The reception when we did test it has been great. But we're just not going to throw it out there and put it out there until we think the timing is right. And that's because we know the game how hard it is to launch a game, for one, how hard it is to have retention, two. And if you don't have these other supporting assets, like a television series, like a real true large growing brand with new user acquisition, then it doesn't make sense to launch until it's time. The game is ready, yes, but the audience isn't ready. We know that because, and that's what we're going to hold. We're going to hold it and we're going to launch it when it makes sense. And I think our ability to make those decisions is what separates us from a lot of other people. And again, it's not just Web3, it's startups in general. Like, a lot of times startups pivot and they'll just fire and fire and fire. But I think we've done a really good job at just really controlling timing of launches and making sure that we know when the right appropriate moment to do those things are.
So important. And hear all of you collectively describe that, I think that, and I'm not trying to get in the head of every other NFT PFP team or founders out there, but while you might have taken things that you've seen others do, whether it was Pudgy or Yuga, or like, hey, this worked, let's put our own twist on it. Hey, Rec gifted their NFT holders some equity, let's find a way to do that ourselves. What do you're going down that path before or not? I think it sounds like, you've had a long-term vision from the jump. I'm sure you've thought some things along the way, but it's like you've been working towards this from the jump, and not just going to the new shiny toy. Someone does something, you don't feel like you need to change your roadmap and do this immediately. Maybe you add it to the roadmap, but it doesn't seem like it's distracted you. Like maybe it has some other teams, and saying no is got to be hard, I would think, especially when it comes in a space where there, we talk about these announcements, like you get a big opportunity for a collaboration with a bigger major Web2 brand. And it was, I can't remember, one of you on the show shared this previously, and it's the only time I've heard a Web3, NFT PFP native brand that they've said no, or not right, maybe not no, but not now when it comes to some of these big Web2 collaborations. And I think it might have been you, Blake, like, hey, we only have so many shots in the chamber. Like there's only so many like we can only collaborate with Lego once, right? Most likely. And
Yeah,
like,
that was Blake's thing too.
Yeah, like that's so powerful. And I think you're probably one of the few that has said no or deferred some of those opportunities and stuck to your plans. Again,
think about,
I'm not in those meetings,
like,
but go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I'm lagging like crazy this morning. But think about like what happens when you do like a huge activation, but you have nowhere to bring people after the fact.
Exactly.
It's kind of like it happens in a vacuum. Wouldn't you want to pull that trigger? I'm not saying that's what other projects have done necessarily, but pull that trigger when it means something. The same way, do the equity thing when it actually means something. When the brand has a value proposition and people understand where it's going and all that kind of stuff, rather than in the beginning, like who cares that the brand barely even exists, right? It's not powerful. I wrote about that the other day. Was that whole like pioneering piece, but it's everyone wants you to say yes and to normal,
including your holders, probably, right?
Including your holders, and including oftentimes like investors that want you to gravitate to what everyone else is doing and want you to gravitate towards the normal, meaning trends or whatever, because it sounds safe, because it feels like it's been battle tested. But the whole point of doing something that people haven't seen before is that it hasn't been battle tested. Do we, and then to answer the second question, do we have to be first? Never. Like you never have to be first. You just have to do it really, really, really well. And do it if you feel like it exists in that map you're building. And just be really good at execution. And if it doesn't make sense, then don't do it, right? And so I think we're big believers in that. And of course, like everyone, it's like, we're building a startup. We haven't been perfect. But I think we've done a really good job at staying true to where we want to go and not being tempted by that gravitational pull.
Smart. I mean, it takes a lot of it's not just about the resilience of getting through the ups and downs, but the discipline and being able to stick to your guns, your plans, and not always chase the shiny toy. And sometimes the shiny toy, not even anything shiny. It's just like you said, you get pressures from investors and community, and it's hats off to you guys, because I know I've not built a startup like this, not pretending to, but when you have a lot of stakeholders, it's hard, it's rare that you're going to make them all happy. And I'm sure there's been upset, community members, probably upset investors over one decision or another, but it really does see like the community has your back and has been maybe as understanding and as supportive of any of the communities out there. And it's evidence of like, the thread I just showed from Sean, and I could pull up a dozen different threads this morning where community members going to bat and bull posting Claynosaurz and excited about Claynosaurz. And I see Diego in the chat, like, for years. And it's not just because this is well before they knew they were getting any equity in the company. It wasn't due to some new min or some activation. It was just like they're really enjoying what's being built. And I think a lot of it does tie back to the quality IP, right? You can see a path to, there's something really here without knowing exactly what it's going to become. We are going to get into Hebrew in a little bit, but without knowing exactly, like the quality is undeniable. And when you have the talent and the experience and the chops that you all have, not just those here on the show with us today, but the team is insanely impressive in how you've been moving this whole time. It's not just been the Web3 stuff. It's not just be going to NFT NYC and speaking on a stage full of, with 20 people in the room. You're getting out there and you're growing the brand into the non-Web3, the non-crypto audience, while still still keeping everyone here, giving them they feel special because they're a holder. And I think most would say that. well before he announced that they're getting a stake in the company. I think
That was the point. That
Yep.
was the point. And I think that we know what we are, and basically that's we operate at the intersection of the creator economy and a new technology that allows you to bring the early believers into the mix, which typically you don't. Like, you're a creator economy like YouTuber, like every person that comments or likes your shit is just a stat, right? And that's not powerful today. Not when the market's oversaturated, not when there's all these people that believe in what you're doing early on, and like you don't want to lose those people. Those are like amazing ambassadors. And I think that NFT and blockchain tech allows you to do some things that no one in Web 2 can do.
Yep.
And it's sick. It's awesome. And that's the point of this crazy adventure is to understand it better, lean it, and change the game when we can.
Well, it's having seen, I'm very fortunate to get to speak with a lot of founders, many of which are pushing the space forward. But I'll say it again, the word to keep coming. It's refreshing to hear y'all talk, to see what you're doing. I think what you're doing, it was the dream for so many Web3 participants, right? Like we knew, or we didn't think we were getting equity in these companies. We knew we weren't a shareholder, but we did feel like by collecting this NFT, by being there from the jump, it was like a Kickstarter on steroids. We were part of something. We were going to be part of that building in public and along for the ride and able to, best case scenario, participate in some of the upside if they make it. But and I know it's hard, so I'm not knocking anyone that hasn't made it work or that it already folded up shop and decided that, hey, they couldn't find product market fit. Very hard, but I think when things got hard, a lot of them stopped even attempting to build in public and to bring their community along. And this isn't saying everyone needs to go out and issue equity. Like I said, a lot of your community has been passionate and supportive well before this. I think this just adds a little fuel to the fire.
That's what's powerful. We didn't have to, and we did it.
Exactly.
It says a lot, and that was part of the point.
We do, Drew, I saw your hand. We'll get you here in a bit. We also have some questions in the chat. I do my best to get to all questions today, as long as the team can hang out. I think we're planned till 10, so I want to make sure we cover anything the team wants to talk about today, and I will do my best to get all these questions answered. If you do have questions, drop them in any of the chats, or feel free to throw a request to join us on stage, and we'll get to you before we wrap today. But Blake, Andrew, anything before we start to get like specific Q&A, anything from like a journey standpoint, or like something that you may have already announced this week that we haven't, that maybe kind of went over or under the radar, where not a lot of people got it, or some things got missed because there's been so much that's been announced. Is there anything that you just kind of want to double down on to make sure that people got understood and or expand on that maybe wasn't able to cover in one thread or one post? We'll go Blake for. Go ahead.
I mean, again, I think everything is tied to each other. Everything that we've launched this whole month, or I guess in the last month, ties together narratively. Obviously, with the micro episodics, there was a good post in chat this morning about what the performance are of those and how we feel about that. And it's good to remind everybody, like we made the micro episodes for a proof of concept for licensing partners, for streaming partners, for everybody who has been saying, we love what you've been doing, we love what you've been growing, but show us the characters, show us the world, show us what the animation style, show us what this series is all about, and give us a better idea of what that's going to look like. And I think like that has been really, really positive. The support that we've gotten and the reaction that we've gotten on the micro episodics has been insane. It's been so good from our closed doors, the conversations that we had with all these people who have just been waiting for this next visual or this next version of what that is. Obviously, equity was huge, for our holders and everything like that. But I mean, the episodics is really the next phase of our journey and how we bring in the next wave of audiences in mainstream. Not to mention, we went into watch and collect right after that. Our vision and how we change the relationship between collecting and viewing and story. It's monumental. In we've been talking about this, just so everybody knows, this is an idea that we had last year, 2025, and have been figuring out how we want to roll this out. The team has been working behind the scenes on artwork that supports this, not just the videos, not just the animated series, but actually like product around it. It needs its own, kind of mini platform, and how people are going to trade. What the passports is like your digital portfolio. There's rarities around that, and how you collect the cards based on episodes. So we're going to be talking a lot more about that, but we really do see that as like the future of collectibles tied to entertainment properties that nobody has done in the past. And we already have such a clear execution on how this is going to roll out that, that's the next phase for us. So
I love it. I mean, truly love it. And this kind of like when I alluded to others, I don't want to say others gave up or aren't trying, but like, it seems like it seems like a North Star for you all, that like bringing it back to, yes, we're going to put this great IP out. We're going to ship the animated series. We're going to launch this game. But it seems like part of every decision, it comes back to how can we enhance that by bringing it on chain? How can we include our core supporters and collectors while also bringing new ones into the fold? And even something like this watch and collect, it really is. It's. And I'm trying to choose my words carefully, because I'm not making it PvP. I'm not like, I bought a bunch of vibes packs, right? Like I love what they're doing. It's great and it's exciting to see them getting into big box retail. I think whether it's vibes or Azuki, I'm still yearning for. It's maybe the first time I've ever used the word yearning on this show, but I'm still yearning for more. Okay, now like where does the blockchain tech come into this? How does crypto, how does blockchain tech make it better, make it different than the Web 2 counterparts? And I know it's much easier said than done, but even like I shared earlier, even the plushie, I was able to, when I got that plushie, I was able to scan it, and I got a collector pack. I apologize if I'm calling it the wrong thing, but like, it just, is that fair to say that you've, like, whether you consider it a North Star or not, but like almost everything you launch, everything you do, are you thinking like, how can we make this better? How can we bring it on chain? How can we make it better leveraging the tech?
Well, I'll answer first, and then I'll let Nick answer, because he's got a very romantic response to this. But I think the reality is, we believe in our core DNA of digital collectibles. We are still going strong that the future of collecting and experiencing, like I have a 6-year-old son, he understands digital more than anybody, and it's just going to be, it's a multi-generational brand. And so we have no interest in going out with a physical TCG game to compete against the people who have already been successful. It's not who we are. It's not what we've been built on. We want to offer the experiences for the next wave of collectors, the next generation of content enjoyers, and how we can marry what it feels like to watch content and collect is something that I don't think anybody else in the space is really doing. They're just pushing out physicals, and they have collectibles on the side. We're marrying the two, and it will always be that way. Everything is tied back to, it's not even like Web3 technology, It's digital, and it's content. And sure, we'll do physicals sometime, but like, we have to wait until we have the audience to have the demand for shelf space. Like we're one step at a time, baby step. Like we know what we're doing. We have a very, very, like you said, North Star in our vision, and how these two things tie together.
I love it.
So
Cab, you can take it.
Cab, romanticize us.
Let's go. I'm going to do my best. The point of it is, I mean, look, we come from Web3. That will always be our identity. And at some point, I believe that no one's going to use the word Web3 the way they don't use the word Web2. Yep. We also come from NFTs. That's our come up. One of our North Stars is to be like the best in class digital collectibles IP native company on the planet. That's at the Claynosaurz level. And a part of that system is this ethos that that digital collecting is not a new habit. It's just a way to express the same habits that people have. Provenance is important, transparent supply, community, all of those things, history. Um, the on-chain layer makes that even more powerful, because a lot of that is radically transparent and immutable. But I think the most important piece of the puzzle is what are the problems we're solving, and one of it is the participants are 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 not part of the fabric of the ecosystem you're building in Web 2. When you look at our collectibles, above everything, they're collectibles, and that's what they should be, and people should be collecting because it's fun. But at a deeper layer, they are memory shards of how you've participated along the life journey of a brand, and that's even actually that what comic books are, but you can lose them. The company doesn't know that you own them. There's all these things that cause friction, but if you have a collectible and you guys just saw it with the allocation website, if you had like if you had a collectible that you could have only gotten at an event and you got it at the event and you never sold it, like we know that. And 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 I think that the user and the person that's supporting the brand that's collecting um grows an identity alongside that brand and can say, I was there, I mattered, and I can prove it. And then the company can goes, yeah, you can, and I see you and you do matter. That's what the tech allows for, I think, at a very, call it romantic level, but I think it's true. And I think that in an age where everything is going to get oversaturated, every market with AI, with free and fair distribution. I mean, dude, you look at like Hollywood right now, they don't even know how they're this is more of a Hebrew thing, but they don't even know how they're gonna fucking exist if they can't have a chokehold on distribution and say, I released the movie, I'm gonna king make it, but here comes Obsession
I,
and is a and Digital Circus is a tidal shift in an industry that has often been super gate kept. It's expensive to make this stuff. All of a sudden, it's not that expensive. It's expensive or very gated to distribute the stuff. All of a sudden, a content creator can go to the movie theaters and say, dude, put my stuff in the movie theaters. And now Hollywood's like, holy shit. In that landscape, there is no advantage and there is no monopoly. Maybe that's not 100% true today, but it will be as you zoom out. And when that's the truth, companies need to see their supporters. The fans need to exist as part of the fabric of the company, and that's what blockchain allows you to do.
I I'm guessing you mentioned Obsession and between Obsession and Backrooms and the list is growing. I'm guessing that has to be some like
Well, people don't
confirming
know
your
this.
priors, right?
I don't know.
We're on the right path here.
Yeah, well, a lot. I don't know how many people track my LinkedIn, but people might not know this about Claynos. But the conversation around Claynosaurz is tied to those convos.
Hmm.
There are thought leaders that talk about Obsession, they talk about Digital Circus, and they also talk about Claynosaurz in the same conversation.
Hmm.
Maybe that hasn't hit the Web3 zeitgeist yet, but there's a lot of eyeballs on what we do because we've done it really fast. Um, we had a big learning curve at the Claynos level, but we have done it fast considering how it's normally done in Web 2. We've monetized, we've created a diehard audience uh, before we've hit the theaters, before we've hit the TV screens. That is not normal to the Web 2 kind of executive demographic. So there's a lot of thought leaderships on the new creator economy and the new wave that's coming. And I'm very proud that we're a part of that convo, which is wild for an NFT project to exist there. And the duty we have is going to be to make NFTs make sense to the world as we earn more credibility.
And why not Claynos? You got me thinking like Obsession over 400 million out of the box office. Backrooms, I think over 350 million, give or take. While we've seen a lot of success so far, most of them, for whatever reason, have been like in the horror genre. I don't think we've seen an indie animated movie
Digital Circus basically made 30 million at a bit over $30 million at the box office, and everyone's talking about it. It's an indie animation brand.
Okay.
I've actually been on a panel with some of that team at Comic Con, and they're incredible. They didn't monetize in parallel the way we do. And by the way, when we're part of those convos, it's like you say, yeah, Obsession has crazy box office, all that kind of stuff. Digital Circus that makes 30 million at the box office. We have an ecosystem that has a market cap of like around I'm not sure what it is today. Andrew would know, but it's like in the tens of millions. And we've had royalties, sorry, not royalties, but volume of secondary markets over $80 million, right? Like that's a stat that turns heads in Web 2. We're like, holy shit, because that's participation. That's like people actively doing that and participating in the brand. And yes, like secondary markets is not money that we make necessarily, but it's a signal of the weight that the the brand can command. The same way when we did the Popkins Mint, there was a signal of the weight and the trust that the brand commands, and I think those things are really important. And in Web 2, people notice. It depends on how
Yeah,
you communicate it.
right. And when it comes to the comms front, you guys have been knocking it out of the park. Cab, I know you had I think I pinned the thread. If not, I'll put it up here in a moment regarding just the Hebrew introduction of the token. I want to go back to Blake though. When it comes to the comms element, when it comes to these announcements, what we will get into some of these questions here. So I appreciate Dort and Diego and everyone else who's asked questions in the chat. We'll get to all of them here. Really enjoy not just the backstory, but the kind of getting into your brains a little bit, like where you're heading, not just as a brand, but kind of a look at how you're moving this industry. And I think like we talk about pushing the space forward. I'm most often talking crypto and Web3. You guys are really shaking up at the entertainment industry, the movie industry, the animated short industry. So Blake, I know there was a lot of announcements. We talked about the 15% of equity going to Claynosaurz holders, and then before the ink even dried on those announcements, we come out with the Hebrew allocation, Hebrew token, and the snapshot has not been taken yet. One of the questions I was going to ask all of you today is, why should I buy a Clayno today? If I miss there's been a snapshot, I can go buy a Clayno, I can collect the IP, but I'm not getting any of that equity. I missed the big event. I missed the big why to hold. So one of the questions was going to be like, well, why would I go hold a Clayno today? Why would I buy a Clayno today if I don't already have one? And you partially already answered that with the Hebrew snapshots not being taken, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. What else do we need to know about Hebrew? Or even I'll ask Dort's question here specifically, how to make Hebrew bigger than a liquidity event and turn into something with real cultural reach and long-term ecosystem relevance. What are your plans, or what can you speak to as it relates to Hebrew and the token, and where will the token come into play beyond just a liquidity event for those holders, something that they can just sell? Just knowing you guys, I'm assuming there's more plans than just, hey, go claim your Hebrew and sell it. Can you speak to that yet? Is it too early? And I'm not trying to. I know, but if I start asking too many legal questions,
this is great. This is a perfect segue. I'm actually going to kick it to Andrew because he has been working very, very diligently on the Hebrew front of things. I mean, Hebrew is the next generation of an entertainment studio at the simplest form. I mean, we are trying to disrupt that industry and really create something that ties fans and creators together. That's it on the surface, an economic layer between those two things. But I'll kick it to Andrew because I think he's great at explaining this part of it.
Yeah. So I know the guys are going to start messaging me now, like, Andrew, keep it simple. We're not in Econ 703 PhD level stuff. So, but to kind of like build what Blake just said, like we've been thinking about this for a very long time. Nick and Blake kind of just hit all of the things that make Hebrew a little bit special. But Hebrew is basically, this ecosystem is meant to capture this creator economy that I think Nick described really well as growing at pace. And you don't need Nick to tell you, you can see it happening on YouTube. You can see these like small budget films that kind of like explode while people talk less and less about these like billion-dollar budget films. That's like a real change in the industry. Mm-hmm. I think studios are struggling with that. And there's not really a solution to empower creative people to capture that properly, right? Yeah, there's platforms like YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and Twitter, but none of those are like the confluence of everything together, because Discord and Reddit and Telegram are very different than those other platforms and so on and so forth. So how does a creator actually build and create really great IP, discover its fans, own its audience? Hebrew is meant to capture that. That's the market we're capturing. That is the creator economy. Simply put, creator economy is Hebrew. That's what we're capturing. Then what is the token? The token is the currency of that economy, right? So unlike other tokens that have come and gone, I mean, it's definitely not a meme token. It has real utility inside of that system. You can contribute to projects. You can, we've got big creators coming on there. We're working on capturing really great creators, small and big, that are not necessarily Web3 native. Hebrew is not being pitched to people as come to Web3. It's being pitched, come to the future of the creator economy. And all of the reasons that we build on Web3 are the reasons why it works, right? So Hebrew is the currency inside of that system. And inside of it, you have to have a link with your fans. So if you think about like, what is that ecosystem? You need supply and demand, you need yin and yang, you need like, ketchup and mustard, whatever, salt and pepper. You need both parts of it, right? That's the fan and the creator. The fans are like the people using this token. The creators are the ones rewarding their fans for their contributions. We're bringing real fans into this ecosystem, right? So we're talking about, creators who have audiences of hundreds of thousands, millions of sticky people who are going to come and operate inside of that economy and build great creative assets together with those creators. And the Hebrew token is there to underpin that economy. And this is the most critical thing about why a token does or doesn't work. Most tokens are built to abuse a negative feedback loop. A negative feedback loop is basically just supply and demand. Like more demand means that price goes up. If supply gets too high and overcomes demand, it goes down, and price goes up, it influences supply, so on and so forth, right? So just normal supply and demand mechanics, Econ 101. Fast forward. Positive feedback loops are like network effect, where every additional person actually adds value to the system. And that's what fans do for these creative economies. And that's what Hebrew underpins inside of this economy. So in summary, the market is the creator economy. I don't think there's any system, there's nothing bigger than that growing at the moment in our space. The currency is Hebrew. The real users are actual fans, and they're sticky and they want to participate. And we see that there's $3 billion of capital formation on Patreon and Kickstarter every year. That is basically just money into the wind. And those fans get nothing really in return. And then the token in that system empowers positive feedback loops for the growth. That's Hebrew.
And like, think of, I hate using this example, but think of like airline loyalty systems where there's an overarching system that pegs many airlines into that system. Each of them have their way of doing it. So imagine you've got like each creator that has a little bit of like their standards, they're building their own brands, all that kind of stuff. But the users, which would be the fans that support each brand, get compounding sort of returns for the stuff that they're doing anyways, whether it's interacting with drops or posts, whether it's helping to fundraise a la like crowdfund or Kickstarter or things like that. And so in doing those actions, they benefit from that token system. But the airlines can also benefit from amplification of, obviously leveraging that to reward the right habits that you want to see from those users or fans. And so that's sort of how it works, where fans will be, everybody wants clout. Like a fan, even at Comic Con, people that wear that go to cosplay and with like another 20 people and they're all dressed as like Luffy or whatever. Really, most people want to be told like, oh, you got the best costume, even though like we're all friends or whatever. And that's an important piece of the puzzle as well, because you'll be able to identify super fans. There'll be different tiers. People will become different tastemakers. When you're a tastemaker, you're kind of like an exec producer. You're like a tastemaker of original IP in a landscape where studios are not taking a bet on original IP. And then studios can come into Hebrew and they can pick and choose different IPs they want to work with. And so you're creating a system where there's tons of funnels. You're also leveraging what people really do care about, which is clout and identity and community. And then you double down on that and have this like awesome reward mechanism. And there's really cool things. I mean, we're not going to get into the micro of how it works, but for the creators, there's really cool things where when they do have like a monetization loop or a crowdfund loop, those tokens are useful and fans can be using them, which is really important, because then it means something to fans. They can, like Fortnite points, right? They can use them for stuff or V-Bucks. and the creators can then reward that, and they see a higher engagement loop as well. A- a- and 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 they can also isolate their super fans, which for us has been a superpower. The ability to have that two-way loop with fans is just insane. Um, and and is probably the reason why 4 years in, not only are we still kicking, but we've grown.
Do you or maybe how much do you envision Hebrew helping these creators with distribution? Like you mentioned, like, we were talking, obsession and backroom, and I think one of the common denominators with most of these, blockbuster hits from the indie world has been they were YouTubers or they had millions of followers. You mentioned you'll work with some creators that have big followings and they'll
Yeah.
come and launch. What about someone who doesn't have that following yet? Would Hebrew still be a
So think
good
of
platform for
that's a
them?
really good question. Think of every NFT project that starts on Twitter. You start, you do a couple posts, you leverage an existing community within crypto Twitter, for
Mhm.
example, which Hebrew would house that existing ecosystem of people that are ready to go and ready to discover new brands and things like that. You cold start a brand,
Yep.
and it's not an overnight thing, but that's what every creator does on YouTube. YouTube has the users on it. So does X. Eventually, we'll have, and in the first state, we bring on a lot of creators that can bring in fans. Um, and and you grow that brand over time by doing the right drops and people are participating and all that kind of stuff. And then from a distribution POV, they'll still be able to use like YouTube and stuff like that, of course. It's just that now they're getting super fans. It's very similar to what we do at Clayno. Again, the idea of Hebrew is to take what we've done at Clayno to extrapolate what we think can scale and what works, and create and systemize it for creators. So at the Clano level, we have a diehard community that understands digital collectibles and have been with us for 4 years. That's something that most people don't understand. But we still exist on Instagram. We still exist on YouTube. We exist on all these platforms that make sense to people, and the diehard fans reap the benefits. And they support us as we build and as we grow sustainably, and we get the legs to be doing that. And so there's a very similar parallel that I can draw for Hebrew, where you have the ability to cold start a brand. You're getting leverage because the brand is able to make money even though it doesn't have a TV show or stuff like that. You don't have to monetize YouTube views or anything like that. And you have the stats and the data to then show the studios, which is what we're leveraging as well.
Mhm.
Hey, we've got diehard fans. We have X amount of wallets that are participating. We've made so and so amount of money. Do you want to work with us on distribution or things like that? And so that's a big part of the master plan, and something that is just not normal in Web 2.
Yeah, definitely not normal. And this is it's a really big swing, but it's one that it's not just. I feel like you're not just swinging and crossing your fingers and hoping. Like real, like logically, rationally, like everything you're doing and describing makes sense. Yes, it takes a lot of work, but I feel as if the maybe not the masses, but it feels like there's pin up demand for this. There's this
Yeah.
seemingly witnessing this Hollywood shift in real time, and I think you guys have been talking about this for probably from the jump. But I think this summer we're seeing it happen. We're seeing it happen at the box office.
Well,
Like,
that's the crazy thing is like we took that bet 4 years ago, right?
mhm,
Or maybe like about three is when we really started to hone in on what this grander idea was going to be based on what we were doing with Planos. The whole world is talking about the creator economy now. Like, and we're talking about like Hollywood has no fucking idea what's happening. And I attend those B2B conferences. I talk to the executives, and and Blake called it out yesterday. They don't have a clue, and they're terrified. And like, shit, what does it look like when we don't have control of everything? And these kids can make a movie on their own dime with their fans and go straight to the movie theaters. Like, how do we exist, right?
right.
And so for us, the fact that's finally starting to come to be true is turbo bullish, but also the fact that the market is oversaturated, and it is still really hard to leverage the creator economy because most people think the only thing I can do is leverage views for money. That's even more bullish for what we're trying to do at Hebrew, and we've been approached by so many creators. The wait list we have on the website, through the conferences we've done and things like that is really stacked. And the creators that we want to work with are pretty special and amazing, and I think will also help validate what we're trying to do and validate the space.
It's
So I'm
exciting.
super excited about that.
And I think by not by luck, but you were early to it, and I think you've got some help to validate it with
Yeah.
what we've
Well,
seen
you
from us
guys
in the Black
basically.
Room, and well,
Yeah.
and what we're seeing at the box office now. Like, I know there's got to be other creators out there that would love to do something. Just like, how do I don't have 20 million YouTube followers. How am I going to do this? Who can I work with that's not a Hollywood studio? To your point, Hollywood is probably scratching their head. What the heck do they do going forward? And it just,
Yeah.
it for me, I'm not an industry insider. I've never made a movie or an animation before.
Dude, I'm gonna send you some screenshots of like what's happening in like the industry zeitgeist and some thought leadership posts like coming from other execs. You're gonna see there's so much fear. They don't understand it.
Without being inside those meetings or in that industry, it really does feel like we're witnessing an industry be disrupted in real time. And hey, is it going to be is Claynosaurz and Hebu, is it going to be the answer? Maybe not. Like, it's still really hard to when you talk about
it'll be the answer. What are you saying, Captain? Come on, man. What are you doing to me here?
Why not? Why wouldn't it be? Right? Like, we
be.
know there needs to be a solution, and you guys you've got several years of a head start on building the solution. So it might not be, but why not? Like, why wouldn't it be what you all are building? You've got the connections, you've got the head start, and we know there's this seemingly pin-up demand now for creators and developers and studios looking for some solution. And they for all they know, you've already built it. They haven't had the call or haven't met with you guys yet. We will get Ilan. We'll get to the rest of the hands. We're running a little long here. I want to be respectful of the guys' time. Blake, I know in passing you said you mentioned the game with Gameloft, and I'm not going to try to pin you down on a date or when we might expect that now. The question I would have though, can you speak to? Do you think we'll see some not watch and collect, but like game and collect type mechanics built into the mobile game, or will it be? I don't want to say just another mobile game, but will it be just leveraging leaning into the IP in a more of a standard Web 2 game, or will you be able to bring in some of those blockchain components to the mobile game?
The game was built with blockchain and collectability from the get-go. So that was always the vision. It's collecting your herd. It's a battle game. It's a PvP battle game. You collect different species, you level them up, you bring them to the PvP arena, and you battle other people real time for dominance on the leaderboard. So yes, 100%. And again, the release date is really just, it's pegged to when we think it's appropriate for us to spend user acquisition dollars and pull from audience of the show and marrying the two people together, show audience, game audience. Come watch the show from the game, come play the game from the show. So, and then go buy whatever physicals we have out there in the world and so on and so on. So we are just really trying to time that event to make sure that we have a really cool triforce of activity from all of the new users, from the younger audience, I would say, from the mainstream younger audience that we're really aiming at, that 10 to 13-year-old. Right now, like Cav said, we're building for indie, we're building for Web3, we're building for people who can support us along the way, that are old enough to have a phone and enjoy our social content, but will also come and shop at the really high collectible stores in LA and San Francisco and find our product there. So our audience is it's a clear to us. It's confusing to every dinosaur IP executive, licensing executive that says pick a lane, bros, and we're saying we can do it all. We can build multi-generational, and we'll show you how it's done. So that's really the goal for all of that stuff.
I love it. Zane has a good point here. He mentions AI creative tools are scary good and cheap now and only getting better. Lean teams of 5 to 20 talented people can do what would take hundreds of people before. Did you see this AI boom coming when in 2022? Did you anticipate something like this, that you would have?
Sure. As soon as deep fakes started to happen, like, I knew where this was going. I think that really all that boils down to is it amplifies that issue I was talking about, which is an oversaturated market. And actually, when you saturate, so yes, of course, some teams will have a lot of speed, and I think in the right hands, it could be very powerful. But you're also going to create an ecosystem where everyone's making content. The barriers of entry to making content are basically zero. That probably means a lot of bad content gets released as well.
Right.
So when you oversaturate the market from a supply POV, but also from like a poor supply POV, the cream rises to the top. But you have to figure out ways to exist and hold on to attention. And so those are the things we're trying to solve, and that's the experiment that Claynosaurz was. It's just easier to make stuff, and you could put it up online for free. What's the edge?
I do want to hit, before we get you out of here, I do want to hit on the token, on the Hibu token. And there's some pin posts up top, but if you want to go directly to the site token.hibu.com, you can see I've got it shared on the screen here now.
I totally forgot we were in a spaces.
Feel free to pin anything up top that you'd like, anything I've missed up there, feel free to go ahead. Introducing Hibu, the economic layer of fan participation. Creators spend it to reward the fans who help them build. Fans earn by backing products they believe in. The more the platform grows, the more flows through the token, which, my brain goes to, man, imagine, let's use either the Obsession or the Backroom example. Imagine that gets launched on Hibu. And I'm early to supporting that. Where my brain goes, well, I'm probably doing pretty well on that decision to back that IP, that movie early on. Am I thinking of that the right way here?
Yeah, I think it goes back to this positive feedback loop thing where, like, the earlier the fan contributes to the brand, like the more value they bring to that thing. And then eventually you hit a tipping point where you no longer need that. Mm-hmm. So like this is, in many ways, again, like Nick described it very well, like that's kind of been the journey with Clayno, one after the other. It's slow going, but eventually you hit this sort of a positive network effect and things roll from there. And Hibu and the token is meant to empower that, and meant to basically push through the hard times early on by bringing your fans on board with you.
I love it. And speaking of those fans, like, I think it's great. It's important that the Claynosaurz community is going to be, we'll have some allocation, 15% on the tokenomics here. Watch and collect, you're already tying some of that into there. Creator pool and fan rewards collectively is 40% of the token. And I think that is, that's really exciting to see. So you've got, I don't want to use the word flywheel, but you've got a real ecosystem here to help accomplish some of these goals. I think of, like, I mentioned Rect earlier and what they've been able to do from a marketing standpoint with Rect token. A lot of their collaborations and a lot of their growth doesn't happen without that, that brand coin. I'm not saying Hibu's a brand coin. I'm not trying to convolute the two, but we've seen that work. And while certainly different, having, allocating, not giving all the token to the community. I don't know if I haven't seen that as pushback or feedback. Like, why only 15% for Claynosaurz? Well, that's just Clayno holders. Like, community wise, between fans and creators and in the community allocate, or the Clayno community allocation, you're over 50% of the token is going to, it's not like it's going to the team. It's not like it's just all going to investors but you've got, you've got a good allocation for the treasury, and the creator pool and the fan rewards gets exciting. And feel free to expand on any of this. I guess one question: how does fan rewards differ from watch and collect? I mean, watch and collect pretty straightforward, at least as I'm understanding watch and collect. But how is fan rewards different to that? Is there anything you're able to speak to on that?
First, let's go through fan rewards and then press expand the watch and collect thing out.
Yeah, do fan rewards first, and then we'll get into it on watch and collect. Andrew, take fan rewards.
In a brief capsule, like the watch and collect is sort of like the first version of a fan reward pool, if you will.
Okay.
And Blake and Nick will get into it, but the fan rewards are meant to exactly what we sort of talked about before. It's like, you're a creator, you've got a new property, and we want people to come and contribute to those new properties, right? And we want them to share content, do user-generated content, participate in chats, like talk about it with your friends. Like, what makes a brand good? Like, what makes someone, I'll use the word, a pioneer? Like, what makes someone like one of these first early founder / pioneer style fans, and reward them for that? Because if you get like 5,000 passive fans, it's really not as powerful as having one or two loud mouthed, thread writers, people who are talking about you, sharing this stuff, and so on and so forth. So the fan rewards is a pool that we'll use to distribute to fans on Hibu, on the various properties inside of that ecosystem, to reward those fans for those contributions.
I don't want to cut you off. I've been to watch.claynosaurz.com before, I've definitely been here. I've definitely watched and collected. I'm pretty sure this is new. This is the first time I've seen it. Did this just go live, or did I just miss it when it launched?
It literally just went live 5 minutes ago, and I tweeted while Andrew was talking about it. Yes,
Okay.
so this is the big announcement that we have today. So we are launching the first version of what Watch and Collect is via promo packs right now. And so these promo card packs that we're launching are basically, they are tied to the animated series. So it, like, imagine Pokemon. Pokemon has promo cards. They also have their first season release. So this is the first and only promo card collection tied to the micro episodes that we've just launched this last month. Now, here's the kicker. There are different ways to collect these. So there's 3 sets of cards, each tied to one of the micro episodes. And as you're collecting each set, you will have the ability to, there's uncommon, there's common, there's rare, there's epic cards, which in this set, they'll all work and integrate into the passport, which what we talked about earlier. There'll be a page dedicated to your promo card collection. If you complete these sets, then you'll be able to craft legendary cards and get even rarer ones. Where the Hibu comes into this is we've built out basically random allocation of Hibu token into each single card. So when you buy a pack and you open up a card collection, you might get rewarded 50 Hibu tokens. You might get 1,000. You might get all the way up to 10,000 Hibu tokens from one single card purchase. So that allocation that's listed on the website is this drop that we just launched right now in this moment. And so it's an exciting time for us because, again, it's our vision of tying story, tying content to collectibles, how we see the series rolling out. And we're doing it first and foremost via this mechanism of the promo cards.
I love it.
It's also like a testament that like story matters. So you're gonna notice like a lot of the cards are this like questing system of pooling like you're trying to chase everything from an episode is an evolution of what we built with like herds and pods, and that you can only do that with digital collectibles, and so it's like really cool. And some of the chasers are gonna show up. It's like, oh, that I've seen that in the episode, but this is like the different version of it, like what comic books do really well. It had to be tied to content, and like Andrew says, it's one of the first iterations of like fandom rewards at the Hibu level because you're interacting with the drop. And so you're getting essentially Hibu by doing that as a fan. And then the important thing, because I know we're running out of time, is this whole idea of alignment with our community and giving back and giving the equity was one of the purpose is to have real alignment, and like the team we fight for this brand, we make sure that it's healthy, we make sure that it can survive, all that kind of stuff. And so what's good for the brand is good for shareholders, and so this, hopefully this is a play that leans into that too. Have fun collecting. I think it's awesome. And I'm kind of pumped that it also comes with those Hibu points and kind of sort of stress test that whole idea of fandom rewards for the way in which you interact with creator drops.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Like, we talk about like, hey, lean into the tech, leverage the tech. I love that you're also
it's
the
so
random
cool,
application.
Yeah, you really got to go through the experience of opening a pack. Again, I don't know if everybody who's listening who was a part of the Popkins Mint has seen the capabilities of our product team. This is next level digital pack opening experience. Like, you'll be able to enjoy this with your kids in the privacy of your own home. I'm going to be ripping pack with my son pretty much all day today. But also it's great for streamers to do together.
Please make content.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic experience, and honestly, it's so fluid that you wouldn't even know that you're actually going through the process on the blockchain to mint these assets. It is like, again, Nipom, Jack, he is, and his team has just crushed the overall experience. It's flawless.
And I think what's awesome as well is you'll notice that the price per pack is really low. if you draw comparables to oftentimes what, like, let's say, like, product launches or mints look like in the space, I think that's where we're headed. Something where the supply makes sense and the price point makes sense, and you can focus on the whole point is having fun and collecting, and trying to find those chasers, which is something Pokemon does really well, and it's where we want to go with the brand. And just and then of course naturally the fact that you're getting Hebrew helps. But it's again every time we do these product launches, we get better and better, and we feel like we skate where the puck is headed. So super bullish there.
So, a couple like specific questions, and if you guys got to get out, I understand. If you got a heart out, just let me know. You mentioned the pricing. A single promo pack for $10. Collector box, which includes 10 packs, is $95. So a little bit of a discount there.
Yeah.
Collector case is 25 packs for $225, and then a whale crate is 50 packs for $425. So you get some price breaks as you go up. Is the random allocation of Hebrew, one exclusive card in the collector's box? There's 10 exclusive promo cards. Is there anything unique going from single promo pack to the collector box? Like, am I guaranteed like all 10 promo cards are going to be different, or greater? Is there any, like, other than the price discount, is there any other reasons to want to go up to collector box or collector case or whale crate? From just
it's about crafting the legendary. So in each pack, again, there's 3 sets that are tied from a story narrative to each of the episodes. Each of those sets has 5 cards in them, ranging from rarity, uncommon to epic.
Okay.
You need to complete one whole set in order to lock those cards to your collection and craft the legendary. And so there's 3 legendaries. Now, the other thing is that each one of those sets is also a different rarity level too. So one set is actually more rare than the first set. And so it's a really cool gamification of how far you want to go. Everything is tradable on secondary. You can, choose to rip packs and complete your collection or your set collection. You can just buy straight up from other people. If you're, getting multiples, I mean, we want to encourage people to trade with each other so that they can collect each set and they're not holding on to duplicates. I mean, we're trying to, this is like as matched to a Pokemon ecosystem as we can, as we can get. That makes sense for us today. And I think the big story is like, it's our very first pack set. Like, it's their season 1 pack set. And it's something that we're going to continue to expand as the show launches out via Watch and Collect, and the multiple seasons that we're planning on doing.
So season 1, I love it. I love there's already a plan for multiple seasons. I understand it's a digital pack rip and digital cards, which I prefer. Do you envision in the, like, let's say I get the legendary, will there ever be a physical component? Like, would I ever redeem for a physical legendary or anything along those lines? Is there any physical counterpart to the digital cards?
Yeah, I'm not going to reveal all of the additional rewards that come along the way with some of our partners. Physicals is something that is that the team has already explored and doing in terms of the ability to claim if you reach certain criteria inside the collection. But we also just want to focus on the digital side of it first. And when we're ready to do a physical representation, then we'll for sure pull that trigger, and we're ready to do so any minute.
Awesome. Love it. I know tomorrow we do Coffee with Captains, one of our weekly segments. We do some BZ claw machine pulls. We're going to have to we'll get to rip some packs tomorrow. For the sake of time, I gotta load some funds in the old Solana wallet, and want to buy, maybe we just go for the whale crate, and we'll have some fun. But we'll definitely rip some packs tomorrow for those of you tuning in for our Friday show. That'll be fun. Diego did have a question, and I have some thoughts based on just everything you've described today. But I want to get to Diego's question here, so he didn't think I forgot him. What are your plans to fight farming behaviors for watch and collect mechanics now that the Hebrew token was announced? Like, anything you're able to speak to on that? Like, how do you ensure that your true fans, your collectors, those are actually watching the series, are the ones that get rewarded, not just someone who spins up a bot to go watch the thing 100,000 times and farm the system?
Yeah, the guys are paying attention to that, but usually it's a one and done deal. So as we build those APIs for when that long form content is released, you watch once, you get that
Done.
that badge, that collectible,
Mhm.
which is what we were testing with basically when you go on our watch.Claynosaurz website, you watch it once, you can redeem it once on a per account basis, and you're gonna want one account to consolidate all of your actions because it's better for you. Same thing with the Lego store, by the way. And so that's being factored in. But then what we can do, and I think the superpower is that you can then reward behaviors that you like to see, which is if someone's logging in between episode releases, okay, that's a fan that's engaging
Mm.
not just when you're watching. And so that could be really powerful for like co-watching. Let's say that's like parents watching it with their kids, things like that, where you log in again, you watch it again, and maybe you do that enough times that oh, like you'll get an extra, and you actually see that system work even for like the some of the mobile games like Pokemon or things like that. And and that's a true loyalty system where real fans are getting compounding stuff for what they're doing anyways.
The data, the information that you're
It's
gonna have on
wild.
your fan, it
Yeah,
is
yeah.
like it gives me chills to think about where you're heading with this thing. And
Yeah.
you talk about like, oh, Hollywood, the
Yeah.
studios, they're looking for what's next. Like, how do we get better? Indie films have popped off in the box office. Well, guess what?
Yeah,
Obsession
yeah.
doesn't know who went and saw their movie. I mean,
Dude,
they know how many tickets they sold, but they can't remarket to those individuals unless they're
you can
already
do a
following them on
thing
YouTube.
where dude, it gets wilder because you can do a thing where you know when there's a participant that's if they're in the system that are watching just like the Flea compilations. This is someone that likes that character a lot. And so you can almost arbitrage that love of the character by giving them a promo card that's like basically a Flea achievement. That's what games have done really well, but it hasn't been done for content. And that's where we want to go, and we think it's going to be a super powerful engagement layer, gamification layer on top of content. And our job is to make sure that Claynosaurz as a brand is known as a very collectibles forward brand. Like that's our North Star. And when you think about what Pokemon did, they leveraged the game link in the early days, which then leveraged community, and they did all these special tech things where in one cartridge you had stuff that you couldn't get in the other cartridges. It forced community. It was a point of interest. It gave them a substantial advantage, and I really think that's what we're doing with Planos.
Yeah, it's exciting. I again applaud you for taking the big swings, getting to this point. It feels like even though you've been building for a few years, you've launched a lot of exciting stuff. I mean, is it fair to say that it's almost like at the same time just getting started? Like this feels like okay,
Yeah.
now chapter one begins, right? It's like you've built so much, you have this loyal fan base, a great community, and now you're doing the stuff, you're shipping the thing, not just the quality IP, not just the quality animations, but doing all that and leaning into the tech. And I think that's what I was kind of attempting to hit on earlier is like there's people that have done great things from a product standpoint. They've taken things into the real world, but it just feels like we've been missing the tying it back into the technology and making it better than the Web 2 counterpart, making it better than what exists today in the wild. And for again, from my view, you all are nailing that. I'm excited to collect. I'm excited to support, and I can't wait to see this continue to go on. And it really does feel like a real point of disruption, a real like you guys are. It is a big swing, but it's it's just better than so many of the counterparts that might exist in the world today. And tying it all together, I really do think is an amazing formula. So kudos, big congrats. Excited to rip some packs tomorrow on coffee. Blake, is there anything from I did pin the post up top on the the rip packs, the pack ripping announcement that just went out. Is anything else you wanted to hit on for that matter, anything we've discussed today, specifically though, starting with like these packs, anything we haven't touched on yet for the Pioneer Edition packs, and then anything else in general that you were hoping to talk about?
Can I go first, Blake?
Yes, go.
Just
I'm a great finisher. I'm a great closer.
yeah, exactly. Fuck. Watch the content again, and then go back to the cards and see how they're tied, and it's like super super cool. So the whole thing works together. That's the whole point, and that's where we're going. So just pay attention to that.
Love it.
Yeah, and I'll just say, just have fun with it. I mean, these packs are here for collectors. It's for fans of the brand. It's for anybody who is interested in participating in the Claynosaurz ecosystem in a unique way. It's the first of many digital card collectibles that we're going to be launching, and we just want people to have fun with it. We want to create this digital experience that everybody has been looking for, yearning for in the space, bring fun back to the space, all that stuff. That's the goal. We have more announcements next week. That's just going to amplify this collection even more. And I mean, we're not, but like, that's all I'll say is like we're continuing to just push the brand forward in places that I don't think people are really are ready for. So it's going to be a fun one.
It's exciting. Lady Lee's already bought some packs. Good luck. Hope you pull a grail. Diego asks, what are the grails to chase? I know you said, I think you mentioned some epics you can craft to get to the legendaries. What are the, and I apologize if you already hit on this, but what are the layers? What are the chase items in these packs?
Okay, so
what's your favorite?
Is the visual out, Blake, of the craft? Dude, I don't know what I'm allowed
The
to say.
visual of crafting is not out, but the visual of completing set is out. We will have more visuals that explains the mechanisms and how it goes throughout the next Jace.
Yeah, I mean, I find a lot of the cards are super hilarious. I think the Zombie Ghost one, which is like one of the most popular things on YouTube and Instagram and in the comments, like that was just killer.
Wait,
I think
Nick, before there's a card that Jerv drew, and he drew it with Gabby. It has the artist name on the bottom left of each card. I passed by Jerv's office yesterday when he was looking at this, and I was like, "How have I not seen that card?" He's like, "I didn't know if I was going to have time to get it done." He's still running everything. He's doing it, and I was like, "Dude, that card is unreal." It's one of the legendary ones. I had to bring it up because it's the only one Jerv drew, and I think it's absolutely epic.
So basically, like what you're trying to do is like you're collecting full episode sets or like storylines, and then you can craft them into ultra rares, and I'll leave it at that. But what's really cool, like Andrew pointed out, is you'll see the artist name at the bottom, and some of these people, there's artists that are our own artists, but we've invited a few that have done stuff for, let's say, like Lorcana or things like that. So
Oh wow,
yeah, it's really cool stuff.
very cool. Yeah, I love highlighting the artist. When you're quick question on the crafting, when I collect 5, I craft a legendary. Am I then burning the ones that I crafted? Is that how that was? Or
they're locking to your passport. They're locking to your collection. So that is a conscious decision that everyone will have to make. Because keep in mind, you can't get a legendary unless you complete your collection. So everyone's going to need those epics that are the rarest of the sets to complete the legendaries.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes this fun is we want to give everybody the opportunity to collect how they want to collect. If you're a completionist, go for the gold. And if you just want to
rip open packs, you can do
rip open packs, hold some epics for people who might want to craft the legendaries, go for that. The other Easter egg I would say is everybody, there's fun descriptions in the metadata for each card that we pulled from the story. And there will be Easter eggs along the way. It is a lot to take in at the surface level, and us trying to explain everything that goes into this would have been suicide. And so I think that's going to be part of the journey of ripping and opening, is just finding out everything that goes along with this. So
I agree. Part of the fun.
Yeah.
Part of the fun is we don't know all the answers. We got a glimpse. We know we want completing some sets. You've given us the guidelines, but yeah, I think finding some of the other surprises along the way. Diego, no physicals to speak of today. But might be something down the road. And he does ask how many, as far as the passport rarities, how are those decided?
Passports won't be rolled out yet, but we will be doing ways to distribute different passport skins, passport rarities. Right now, you're just going to see your full collection, right? It's your Pioneer Edition collection. When we roll out the Watch and Collect feature, that's when we'll have the full passport that will have cards tied to the longer form episodics. So that's a future state product, but there will be a page in that passport dedicated to the promo card collection here.
Very cool. Yeah, and on the
and it is a fixed supply, I will say.
That's what I was going to ask. It says the post says while supplies last. Or can you how many packs, or are you able to speak to quantities yet? Or
I'll let the community do the math on that when they figure it out. I don't want to create a race, or I don't want to create unnecessary, like this is something meant to be enjoyed now. Granted, there's Easter eggs along the way, even in the post copy. So take that what you what you will, and again, just have fun with it. Collect how you want to collect. Again, this is for everybody interested in digital collectibles, everybody in the space. Hibu allocation is just again another icing on the top. Like, I cannot wait till someone pulls that 10,000 Hibu token off a pack. It's going to be awesome. There's multiple of that, by the way. But when we see the first one, it's going to be super fun.
I love it. Very, very cool. Really well done. Excited to rip some packs. Excited to rip some packs, but just like this is it. This is, at least in my head, the big part of the vision of crypto, Web3, why NFTs, and how you guys are moving, how you're bringing your community along, how you're incorporating the tech. I'm sure there's been road bumps. I'm sure there's been mistakes made along the way, but man, it seems like you guys are batting near 1,000 so far, from the product to the communications, and just big fan of you guys. Big fans of everyone on the team. Every time I have you on, I get excited, but then also FOMO that I don't have a full pot of a full herd of Claynosaurz.
Me too.
Congrats to Doomers. Our guy Doomers, he I think it was around like when the Dude token dropped. He took some of his winnings there and started collecting, and just to see him collect and start with, I think, a single Clayno to an incredible herd now, and a bunch of Popkins. Like, I'm really excited for, several of my friends, but Doomers in particular, because it's been, it wasn't from the beginning. It's just like he saw what you guys are doing. You I think, as a team, speaking for him a little bit, really impressed him, and it's something he wanted exposure to. And I think he's probably pretty excited and happy that his faith and confidence in you all is being rewarded with, not just with equity, but now with this allocation. And he also just said "F my wallet" when he saw these pack rips. So looks like the support is going to continue.
CryptoPain asks when Clayno blind box. That is, I think it's fresh out of the factory, actually.
Yeah, we'll be delivering those hopefully to Dilly team by the end of the month, and then we'll set up that pack opening party, whatever that looks like, hopefully early August, as soon as we can. Again, these are things that we're just, when they happen, we're gonna send them out. Like, those ones are no-brainers. We want to get those in your hand as soon as possible.
And pay attention to the timeline for even more stuff through next week.
Yeah, it's actually, coincidentally, two minutes ago, White House from Dilly asked, are these digital cards or physical, or both? Digital cards today, potentially some physical tie-ins in the future. But yeah, good question there. And I think I hit on most of the questions from the chat. I apologize if I missed any. Maybe one more time. I know we've kept you guys way too long. Maybe one more time around the horn. Is there anything we didn't touch on today? Anything we didn't talk about? Anything you were hoping to share with the audience? You go Andrew, then Cab, and then we'll let Blake close again.
I can go first. I feel like we've talked about so many things, so I don't think we've left anything out. There's a bunch of, I'm getting questions like in different chats and even from investors, like, wait a second, like, how many units are there? Is there a time requirement? Blah, blah. I'll point you guys back. I made a really long post. I don't know how you dig these things out on Twitter. I made a really long post about what we're trying to do with digital collectibles, which is string together like a huge community as big as Pokemon, right? So this is like the next step, right? So we did a 10,000 collection with the Claynos. We added on the Call of Saga, so it's like a 12,000 unit there. Did Popkins for 25,000. This is more akin, by, you could just tell by the number of units, right? Like, or the price rather, like smaller price, more accessible. It's got like this crazy like sort of fun crafting part of it. There's chasers that are enhanced, not just like opening and getting them. You got to kind of craft them and find them. Enhanced by the digital aspect of it. And it's a trajectory into like, well, it's even the Popkins that I think we did them $200 a unit is a little bit restrictive, right? But $10 a unit, I can send this to my friends who've got kids and like, they'll be like, hell yeah, like, let's do it, right? Mm-hmm. So we're moving into this digital collectible universe. And like we talked about it, there's a gap, right? There's digital collectibles that already exist in like gaming. It's like an $80 billion market. There's collectibles markets that are that are, you know, abundant everywhere. We don't know, baseball cards and Pokemon cards and stuff. And there's like this digital collectible like area that does not apply to anything but gaming. And there's a huge gap, multi-billion-dollar gap. And Claynosaurz and what we're doing is like the beginning of that, right? So that's a really long answer to say, like, there's a lot coming on this watch and collect. This is like the first thing we're doing for, I think, what will be the future of digital collectibles as it applies to these entertainment properties. And I mean, hit follow, right? Like, I know Blake's got a whole bunch of things coming out, like teasing stuff and more mechanics. And there are chasers that are time relevant to answer one of many, or the same question I've received many times in the last 5 minutes.
Last question from the audience, then we'll go to Cav and Blake to wrap up. But any Solana today? Any plans for any other chains as it relates to the cards, the Pioneer Edition or just the watch and collect packs?
So this collection is on Solana. Obviously, we've experimented with Sui in the past. We build where the tech makes the most sense for the product. Obviously, from a cultural perspective, like Clayno is very Solana. We know that the collections will always be there. If we launch something somewhere, they'll always be there. But you know, there's also a tech question on the future of where things end up being. But we've launched Watch and Collect on Solana. So
makes sense. I just, man, it really is. Love everything you're doing. I think the other thing that I don't think I have mentioned yet is how you are respecting and not diluting the Claynos and the Popkins. Like, you have your digital collectibles, you're launching other digital collectibles, but I don't feel in any way, shape, or form this is diluting Claynos or diluting Popkins. Like, but yet you to go to the masses, you have to have a $10 pack, or something close to it. You've got to be accessible to, you know,
eventually you also need, like, you know, $5 I don't know, like Pachycephalosaurus or something. Like, our goal is to never bastardize the importance of those founding artifacts. These are the founding artifacts that resulted in equity for the diehard believers. They are supposed to be the turbo luxury collectibles in our ecosystem, and up to Popkins, and we will always honor that. That's the point. We're building towards something called the Vault. The reason we're doing that is, like, in Web3, you've got like many different types of collectibles. In our case, we have characters. We have this like watch and collect mechanism that's displaying. We also have like Vault, which would house more experimental or ancillary type of collectibles that might not fit the bill and might not be a character, right? But are still kind of trinkets or something like that should exist on chain, and that we deem has historical provenance and is really important to the brand and should exist in the catalog forever. And so we're working towards all that stuff because, again, we want to be best in class for collectibles, and that's what we're building. And the space has often felt that less is more. I think that might be true for something like Punks, but for a true digital collector's ecosystem pegged to an IP, I think tactful more is more, and that's distribution. And you need to allow collectors to discover little niches within different series. So we'll be really tactful in how we release like series and how we expand the collectibles. And actually, if we do it correctly, it'll provide substantial value for the ultra rare historical artifacts, the same way Charizard can only have that value proposition because millions of people collect across the board of Pokemon, and they want to hold that absolute grail. And I really think that's true, and that's what we're building.
Yeah, and as you expand those access points, it's like it's with intent. It seems like everything ties together. It's not just
you exist across the demand curve. Like,
exactly.
You know, maybe you can only buy a booster pack, but you still want. Maybe you can only buy a box, but you still want. Maybe you can buy a Clayno. And what we discovered with Popkins is so many people bought into Popkins and eventually wanted the aspirational grail, which is a Clayno or a Saga, right? And that's a beautiful thing, and I think that's the whole point. And if you have a Popkin, you're just as much a part of the ecosystem as you would be if you have a Clayno, but a Clayno is considered like you know, top ladder grail in that ecosystem, and that was the point.
Yep, really well done. Incredibly well executed thus far, and it also is part of how you've moved so far, and in the execution from the product to the comms, everything it makes me very bullish for what you are building. Very hard to build an animated series and grow IP, and for not to mention a whole platform to help others do the same. Mobile game, like all very difficult stuff. But I've got confidence in this team. Not only you very talented and have the experience and the chops, but having seen you moved in crypto in Web3 for years now, it gives me more confidence that you actually can execute these audacious goals and big plans. Blake, any final thoughts, any closing words? Really appreciate your guys' time today. We kept you far too long, but awesome stuff, incredible stuff. I appreciate the live announcement there. That maybe I'll blame that for keeping you so long a little bit, maybe. But Blake, anything we didn't hit on today, or any final thoughts, closing words for everyone?
Just have fun with it. Again, we're getting good feedback already off the mint and or off the release, and so just have fun with it. There's a lot of gamification things that we think that you guys are really going to enjoy.
Love it, gentlemen. Always a pleasure. Open invite. I know I give you all flowers quite often. Shout out again to Andrew, who also keeps me up to date on everything that's happening. In addition to Cab, and we're going to rip some packs tomorrow. We'll have some fun with this. We'll continue to watch and collect now, and really, really excited to see where all this goes. If you've not already yet, give the Claynosaurz account a follow on the audio spaces. Andrew and Cab are both up there. Go give them a follow. Blake, what's your Twitter handle for those who
I am at Smoke Monster LA. It is a nod to the show, not me toking the reefer on a regular basis. It was one of the first shows I worked on.
Was Lost.
Lost.
That's amazing.
And my gamer tag if you want to play some PS5 games with me.
Smoke Monster LA, and now just adding to the lore again and the experience. Maybe I'd heard that before, but I hadn't remembered that you worked on Lost. That was, you want to talk about appointment television. That was an epic.
That was it. That was the one. It's my go-to. Yep.
It was the best. Lady Lee wasn't kidding when she said she bought some packs. She's in the process of ripping 14 of them. So good luck. I hope you pull a grail. I hope you get one of the first two.
Just make sure you record it, lady.
Yep. Record your pack rip, share that on the socials, and good luck getting to that legendary. I'm excited to see hopefully someone from Coffee with Captain's one of the first to craft one of those legendaries, and we'll give you maybe that'll earn if anyone I don't know, but maybe it's not even possible, but if anyone does craft a legendary here in the audience, we'll give you the BZ Claw pull tomorrow if you're able to turn it around in short order. But all that said, gentlemen, really appreciate your time today. Shout out to our partners over at Doma for hosting for sponsoring the Builders Domain. We had the pleasure of speaking with Spencer and learn all that he was building with Vibes last week. I couldn't think of a better group to continue the Builders Domain series here on Coffee with Captain. We will do this once a week. If you're new here, if you just found us by the show today, we're live every Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern time. And we'll be back tomorrow. Fun Friday to close out the week. I failed. After I gave Payne some kudos regarding the intro video, I failed to play it before we got started today. So we'll play it as an outro video before we shut the show down. But gentlemen, thanks again so much for your time. We'll be in touch. And actually, Machiavelli, go ahead. I do have Machiavelli. Before I place out, I've got one other piece of news I saw get broke. If that's what you're going to hit on, I will cover that. But hold that thought for just a second. We'll wrap up the Builders Domain segment here. Thanks again, gentlemen. Really appreciate your time. And
every time I hear Mac's voice, I can't help but smile. He's got like the best voice ever.
Put me on that show.
I say
put me on that show.
If you didn't already have a flea taken for it, it's like a very flea-esque voice. I feel no offense to
Mac. I'm gonna do spaces
actor.
later in the afternoon. It's just gonna be like a chill hanging out space and talking about this launch and everything else. So just pop by and we'll hang out.
Machiavelli will be a future Clayno character, voice character. I can see it. His break into voice.
He would work. He would actually work. Yeah.
Thanks again, gentlemen. Audience, don't go anywhere. We got one other breaking news after wrapping up this Builders Domain here. We'll hit on that. We'll let Machiavelli share the news, and then we'll get you all out of here. Appreciate everyone hanging out. A couple hundred of you hanging out for almost 3 hours this morning. So appreciate y'all being here, and thanks so much to the team. This is the Builders Domain, brought to you by Doma.
Yeah. Builders in motion, big ideas, moving out in the open. Screens glow, coffee in the cup, from the stage to the screen, watch it build up. New tools, new rails, new ways to move. Team locked in and the signal comes through. From the first spark to the thing that's real. Tell me what's next. Tell me what's the bill, yeah. Tell me what's next. Tell me what's the bill, yeah.
Hey, how about our guy Kane there? That was I was impressed. That's my first time seeing that. I caught that it was a live reveal for myself as well. I love that we even got a Claynosaurz shot in the Builder's Domain outro today. It would be an intro video going forward. But yeah, truly shout out to Dome. Appreciate them sponsoring this series for us, and obviously wouldn't be a series without the incredible builders like the Claynosaurz team who joined us today and shared far more than an hour of their time as we initially had planned. All that being said, I will pull up the post here. Machiavelli cheated on us and went and hung out at the clubhouse for a little bit. But Mac, tell the people, where will we be hanging out on October 17th?
Yo, we're going to Charleston, South Carolina, Beeple Studio. It's going down. Yo, I think it's safe to say you can book your flights, you can book your hotels, you can do all of the things. A lot of exciting things are about to start happening. Side events getting planned, all of the things, man. Cap, I'm very, very excited. We're going to Beeple's.
I am glad you're excited. I'm not surprised you're excited.
I said it on your show in April, right after Figgy. Whenever we talked about maybe the announcement of A-Fest, I was like, bro, it would be epic if he did something with Beeple.
You called it. You called it. We already got a creator house for Charleston in the works. The Ape Fest creator house. And I might actually, like, in all seriousness, I got to talk to the host, but I got offered to stay at an Airbnb on the water from a fellow club member. And if they're down for the creator house, we will we might spin it up there. I think they were just joking in the chat, but we might make it a real thing. Did we catch any other than October 17th? Do we know? So it's a Saturday. Do we know any other? I assume as per normal, or as per usual, there'll be some side events on probably Friday evening, probably throughout the day, Saturday, and then maybe even Sunday as well. Did we get any of that today, or is that all we know right now is October 17th?
Said, the planning starts today, pretty much, community, all of that. So, I can expect we're going to see a lot of folks surface and stuff and who've been doing this for the years previous and stuff. So I'm just excited to see what's going to be put together. And, this is a different feel, and listen, we're going to the most profound digital artist, studio in the world. You know what I mean? Somebody who's literally like turned the art world over on their head, and with this last showcase at Art Basel and stuff like that, and like with his relationship with this is about to be like one of probably the best intimate experiences we've all bear witness with in this club. So I'm super excited about this, and I know it's going to be immersive. That's the crazy thing, is like we know we're about to be immersed.
Oh yeah,
in Bored Ape Yacht Club.
Yeah, it'll be. I mean, just after having seen how they turned the space in Vegas last year into, just a really cool immersive experience. I can only imagine what they're going to do with People's Studio, which is kind of built for this from the ground up. So really excited to spend time with friends. Shout out to White House, who I just mentioned earlier on the Dilly team, when picking up a whale crate as we speak. So between Lady Lee and White House, one of them is gonna race to that legendary Beep Fest, says Diablito. Any room in the Airbnb? Maybe. It's not my Airbnb, so I don't want to. I can't be passing out invites, but let me get on that today now that we do have a confirmed date, and we will. I look forward. I may actually end up driving. I think Charleston's like a 7-hour drive from me, so I may. We'll see what flights look like. I may just drive, so I have the flexibility, and probably bring my girlfriend. I think be maybe first time introducing. I guess my daughter came to an NFT NYC, but
yeah, there is a group of apes already planning to take a tour bus from Los Angeles, California, all the way across the country to Beeple's studio for Ape Fest.
I mean. That's
Pickle and Fresh Out are some maniacs, and they're like, "You're flying over here to ride the bus with us, right?" And I was like, "Man, I probably, but yeah. There's already people making plans. Actually, Fresh Out and like Dr. Dave Coin were the first, and Kurt Cobain's were the first people to book their rooms the moment we got the 2325 on the thing. We had the Collectors Collect members only 2325. Soon as they were already booked. They were like, yo, there's no way it's not going to be there. And so, yeah, man, I'm really, really excited. Ape Fest 2026 is going to be off the chain.
Yeah, real quick, Cap. I think I'm local down here, so there's a lot of opportunity, barrier islands for beaches. Obviously, downtown on the peninsula, a lot of boutique stuff going on down there. A lot of food going on down there. People's places up in North Chuck, so it's a little bit of a drive. But Charleston's a harbor, so a lot of opportunity for yacht club type business. So it's gonna be fun.
Yep, gonna be fun. Looking forward to it. And yeah, now that you're taking buses from LA, we may have to do it. I'm speaking out loud before I actually confirm plans, but might have to see if we do a party bus from Tampa area. Not sure if my girlfriend will be up for that or not, but we will find out. Congrats, Unreal Ape already pulled an epic zombie ghost. And you can see some of the animation here I shared on screen. I'm going to get off here. I'm going to go. I skipped the coffee break this morning. So if you know, you know, but I got to take a quick coffee break and then I'm going to do some pack ripping. But really appreciate everyone who joined the show today. Appreciate everyone who hung out with us. Some great questions for the Claynosaurz team. Big shout out to Claynosaurz for joining us and giving us so much of their time. Big shout out to Doma for bringing us the builder's domain. And shout out to all of you. Appreciate y'all being here. Thanks for all the kind words and help me get through my migraine. Thanks for not turning the show off when I was rocking my creepy NFT dealer shades today. But hopefully tomorrow. I probably could have been fine today, but I wanted to play it safe since we had guests. And but hopefully we're back to full speed and no shades tomorrow. Or maybe we just make it. This is maybe become Web3's version of Tim Dillon, and we rock the shades every day. We'll see. Tune in tomorrow to find out. Until then, have a wonderful, wonderful day, everyone, and go. Well, I think France is going to win, but I have a future on Morocco to win the World Cup. So hope it's a good game. And also, if you haven't yet, go Google Holland, Haaland, and Google's got a treat for you. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Have a great one.